Welcome in, everybody. It's week 6 of the NFL season, and we're ready for some week 6 fantasy football. And here with me, starting off the Sunday, as always, is Dylan Clemons and Alan, our residence betting expert at Fantasy Six Pack, ready to start off the day with his top 3 bets. But before we go and jump into it here, remember, hit that like and subscribe button. Follow click the bell if you want to get notified when this show goes live. Any of our other shows go live as well, like Dave, Eddy, and Chris Robbins. So, make sure you click that bell if you want to be, attentive right there. But then also go to fantasy6pack.net/plans and go sign up for a membership if you want to get in the Discord, get access to all of us. You can, talk to Al literally on a Monday or a Tuesday and be like, dude, what are you looking for bets next week already? You can get that early of access with that membership. You get projections with DFS. You get rankings with Joe. I mean, you get Keith as well on the betting. There's just an absolute cornucopia of, knowledge there if you get into that membership, and it pays for it in the first week if you listen to Dave, Eddy, and Chris Robbin on the slates. So, that's enough of the ad plugging here. How's it going, guys? How you doing, Dylan? How you doing, Al?
I'm doing well.
I'm hating life.
Oh no, why is that this morning, man?
I gotta let the Titans go, man. I wanna fight Mike Vrabel. Like I want a one-on-one with him, man.
He's a tough dude though, man.
I don't care. I don't care how tough he is, man. If he wins, he can put me out of my misery of having to watch him every Sunday, man. I don't know why I keep Mike Vrabel, like every week there's coaching mistakes and things being done where I'm just like, what are you thinking? Like, I just watched Oregon last night, and every single week I watch the Titans, and I'm like, how could you possibly be worse than what I just watched? But he finds a way, man. Like, they are so bad.
Yeah.
Like, game management wise, it's horrendous.
Yeah,
play calling wise, not great either.
Definitely offensive wise, that's for sure. Their defense is bending, just not breaking yet, because Baltimore is not doing themselves any favors in the red zone right now. That's for sure. 9-3 ball game.
Defense, man. Like every week you come out, you got to work 2 to 3 times as hard as the offense because they're 3-0.
Right. Yep.
Every third downs might as well be fourth downs, man. They're like 27th in the league, and I keep taking that 3.5 and 4, man, every week.
I feel you. I get it.
It's too hard to pass up.
Yeah.
Right.
They finally scored.
Yeah, Zay
Flowers. That's what I'm talking
crazy.
about.
At least it was Zay Flowers, somebody in our fantasy lineups, at least.
Yeah, Jamie probably won on the silly string bet just on that.
Hey, but look, it's funny about Zay Flowers, man. Like, he gets like 70, 80 yards, and people are like, man, he's eating. I'm like, what?
Right.
I guess in that offense, he is.
Yeah, he's the underneath threat. He's almost taken away Mark Andrews' role a little bit for the most part.
At this, how about the slant that Odell got open on? He looked pretty quick, and he was moving pretty well, surprisingly, looking a little healthy-ish for once.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's his one big play. The game.
Won't last long. I mean, he has one big play, and it's a 50-50 shot right there if he's going to be done for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's that age, man.
Yeah, no doubt. But Alan, man, how'd the super contest end up going last week?
Last week I split 50%. I got a push on the Texans and I won on the Niners, and I'm trying to remember who my second win was. I forgot, but it was one of those situations where, yet again, it always comes down to like a play here and there where I could be 5-0 or I could be 1-4 or 0-5. So it's like, from a gambling perspective, you just kind of have to take it in stride. We're in week 6. It's still time to make a push, and I'm not gonna really stress it till like week 10. Then I'll probably be a little bit more antsy.
Yeah, starting to sweat it out a little bit more. Sure.
Yeah.
But what's your first play for this week, man?
This week I'm gonna go with the Colts getting 4.5 against the Jaguars. I just think it's a good spot for a Jaguar letdown because they just had that big win over the Bills, and they're coming back to Jacksonville, and Indy's got some momentum. I know they also are coming off a big win against the the Colts, or sorry, against the God, I am all over the place. Indy's coming off a big win against the Titans, but I just think there's some chemistry there. Steichen's got him rolling. Minshew's pretty comfortable in the system too. Mm-hmm. If anything, it's probably a boost per se that Minshew's playing over Richardson, and I would say
it is
half to a point worth that you're getting with Minshew. So getting 4.5 here just seems a little generous, and so I'm going to take that. And then the Bengals, which I can't believe I'm saying this, but I am personally very weary of getting behind this idea that the Bengals won't do what they've been doing for the last 2 to 3 years, where they start slow and then they go on this crazy run.
Rolling, yep.
And I'm like, dude, this spread being just a field goal against a secondary that's still not, I'm telling you, they're not that good. Now, Burrow could come out here and drop another dud, but if he throws the ball to Jamar Chase 15 times, maybe more, like they should punish the Seahawks. I don't think the secondary is ready for it.
I could see that for sure.
Yeah,
Jamar Chase is on a whole different level, man.
Yeah, man. I was with them, man. It's like he hit me up and I chat GPT'd it, like, throw him the ball. explicit. Throw him the ball, man. Like, it's open.
No,
I don't understand.
No
Anytime you see these premier receivers, man, with zero coverage, they should get the ball thrown to them every time. Pickens, their offense is terrible, but if you ever play cover zero, you're gonna get beat just like it did.
Throw it up to that, man. Yep, yeah. No doubt.
It's crazy.
No doubt. You have one more for us?
I got some props, yeah.
Okay,
actually,
cool.
Some props that I think are pretty enticing. Justin Fields, anytime scorer, plus 135. Jonathan Taylor, anytime scorer, plus 135. I know Zach Moss is killing it, but at some point they're gonna start pushing Taylor back to being the feature back, and then they'll probably split the carries 55-45. And again, Moss is on a tear, but he's not better than Jonathan Taylor.
Right. And they also said that they're going to work in Jonathan Taylor more in this week. So that's, I like that as well, especially with plus odds for sure.
And then, I'm almost too late to the party, but CJ Stroud over 219 passing yards this week.
Okay.
I know the Saints are a solid defense. I've said that from day one. They're not going to treat CJ Stroud like they did Mac Jones, though. I'm sorry. And for what it's worth, I've watched too many Saints games, honestly, and they can be had in that secondary.
Sure.
Up front, they're pretty solid, but they can be had in the secondary. And I think CJ Stroud is just on another level, man. Like, it's incredible to see a rookie acclimate himself to the adjustments of the position so quickly. Like, that's the thing that stands out to me. Arm talent, you know what the guy's got. Like Bryce Young, I know he can throw the ball, man. I know he's a playmaker. It might not show up every Sunday because of the talent around him, but when you look at the rookie quarterbacks, CJ Stroud is leaps and bounds ahead of everybody on how he makes in-game adjustments, how he managed that 2-minute drill with it was sad to see them lose that game to the Falcons because he went out there like a pro. He looked better than Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins has been doing it for 20 years.
I know it. He's such a smart processor, man. He's just so fantastic.
You're making me feel even more confident about my Nico Collins burning Lattimore pick from Friday.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too. And look, DeAndre Hopkins caught a pass. I thought he was on the bench all game.
He's alive today.
Yeah, man. I've been trying to keep it in check. I'm actually going to be on ESPN Radio Richmond here soon. Oh, cool. And kind of a filler spot. I'm on basically auditioning for a position there. And I'm like, I can't get on and go on one of these rants and start cursing because I'm on the radio.
No doubt,
I've been watching some bad football this weekend, man. Like, my eyes have been bleeding. And it's not just gambling. I don't mind losing a bet. But if I'm losing a bet, Lanning, because you're dumb enough to give an explosive offense half a field, yes, I'm going to rant. I'm going to flip something and throw something. That is so stupid. I don't get it.
It's not logical.
Yeah. So, but if you're looking at other props, like some riskier props, Algier is like plus 225 to score. He gets the most red zone touches. Now, Bijan is the guy that they love, But when they get into that 15-yard window, if they're going to be handoffs and touches, right now he's almost 3-1 on Bijan for touch percentages.
That's nice.
And then if they're throwing to
Bad
receivers,
face.
Drake London's plus I think he's like plus 185. And wide receiver ones have been destroying the Commanders. If anybody's been paying attention, now they're more dynamic and more athletic wide receiver ones as far as speed goes. But Drake London is a red zone target. They've got cornerback that's 165 pounds trying to cover Drake London.
Emmanuel Forbes, right? Yeah.
Yeah. If he doesn't get targets today in the red zone, I don't like Arthur Smith anyway, but I'll be back to
no doubt
to adding him on Twitter and trying to get his attention. Tell him to stop.
Stop doing dumb things.
Yeah, you gotta exploit that, man. You got to.
Exactly. Get your playmakers the ball where they can excel.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm sure Joe loves hearing that, with his Commander's hat on in the background.
No, sorry, I ain't saying they would win, but they got it. You gotta pick on a guy that's as big as my 6-year-old, man. Come on.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah. So yep, Titans are 3-0 already. Since we've been talking, they've been
Titans are 3 out
times.
already. What was the over under on that for their?
I don't know, man. I'm about to go take a walk.
But all right, Alan, before you go take your walk, why don't you go ahead and plug a few things and let us know where we could find your work and all that.
Yeah, Actively Lazy 85 on Twitter. I just posted a boost for the parlays. And then you can obviously catch me on Tuesdays and Wednesdays on Fantasy Six Pack doing the NFL gambling show. Also on the IBN Network, which is my Facebook group. I'm in there as well. And then we'll be transitioning to basketball here real soon.
Nice.
And I'm predominantly props for basketball, but I'm going to try to get some more commentary. Should be an exciting season this year.
Very cool. No doubt. Yep. I'm big into basketball, so I'll be making sure to check out all your work there, man, for sure.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So, but all right, Al, have a good one. Good luck in your super contest this weekend and all your bets, man.
Thanks. Take care.
Peace out, man. All right. Now, the second part of this show, the rankings, about, and who's behind the scenes right now. He's the resident Commanders fan. Oh yeah, and he's the owner of F6P.
He's back.
Welcome on, Joe. How's it going?
What's up? Hanging in there. taking in all the Commander slander.
Well, I mean, when it rolls off the tongue so nicely like that, it's hard not to.
It's warranted, man. It's been brutal. Yeah.
Maybe they're due for a bounce back, man, after a disappointing game.
I mean, it is the Falcons. So if there's any team that they're gonna right the ship in the secondary, it's gonna be against them. But
sure,
whatever. We'll see.
It's possible. But how's your Sunday morning going, real quick, Joe?
Same old. Just busy as usual. Making sure, getting everything ready and watching this fantastic football game.
And I know you guys don't know this out there, but he gave us the heads up. What is it, like 30 minutes before the show? Hey, guys, rankings are updated. You're all good. That's how attentive he is to these rankings, and he's the reason he's top 10 still right now, even though he was top 5 last week. He'll make that boost back up. It's the consistency that matters, right, Joe? No one's always right. It's about being right most of the time, right? Now, and I know you like that. So we'll get right into it here. And Dylan dug up the questions here, but I'm gonna take it off for you, Joe. You got Kenneth Walker, all right, as your RB14, and ECR is a little bit higher on him on this week at RB11. I'm kind of curious why. Why a little down on Kenneth, who's been just killing it with 5 touchdowns, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I like Walker a lot this week. I mean, the matchup's sort of neutral. So that's kind of why some of the guys that I have ahead of him just got the slight boost. Mixon and those guys, they've got more premier matchups, even though that's actually the same game, Mixon and him. So it's super close in the projections. And I mean, I'm just kind of letting them ride there. I mean, it's you could flip flop any of those guys, and I think it's fair, to be honest.
Yeah, it was just what I was going through it, and it kind of popped out to me that you didn't have him as a clear-cut RB1. So that's kind of why that was my thought process and why I wanted to throw that question in there, because he has been pretty fantastic.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. He's awesome. He's been great. You know, a little touchdown dependent, honestly. You know, workloads there, yardage not quite so much. You know, so you know, if he doesn't fall in the end zone, you know, he's easily outside the you know, the RB1 territory. And you gotta wonder, like, Seattle's gonna want to rely on this run game, but if what we saw last week from Cincy is kind of what is kind of what
they want to do,
what you know what Alan was alluding to, that you know, this is what the Bengals do, right? They suck early, and then all of a sudden they just go on a heater and they're like unstoppable. So if they do that again, game script's going to take Walker out of the game. So that sort of plays into it too.
It's just so weird because every time they get in the red zone, it's just like, you know what? Here you go, Walker. Here you go, Walker.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. It's just, you know, I mean,
although Charbonnet has been getting worked in more too.
I was gonna say after the bye week too, we could see more of Zach Charbonnet.
We could. We actually have seen it kind of go. We saw him get involved, and then we saw him get less involved. It was weird. Like they were like, never mind. We actually don't like you. And then, and so, yeah, I kind of with you though. Like after the bye, work on some things, get him back involved a little bit more, so that, you know, again, all little tiny factors that just, you know, move the needle just enough to bump him down a couple of spots for me.
All right. Well, we'll move on then to the next question here. All right, and a guy who's been struggling as of late, your boy Brian Robinson of the Commanders. ECR's got him at 20, and obviously you think he's going to struggle just a little bit longer because you got him at RB24, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you really look at this Falcons run defense, they've been pretty good. Yeah, you know, look, they shut down. Now, granted, they did get Detroit on the week that they didn't have David Montgomery, so that helped. But I mean, they've shut down ETN, they've shut down the Carolina run game, they've shut down Dameon Pierce. You know, it's not out of the question to say they're going to shut down Brian Robinson too. So
I'm curious to see when they play the Saints what they do with Kamara. You know what I mean? See if it stands up. Is it going to stand up, or is they're gonna fall because they finally hit a superstar of a running back?
Well, they get Derrick Henry before that, but they've decided they don't want to use Derrick Henry anymore, which is the most bizarre thing on earth.
Yeah, it's a Tajay Spears Henry show.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Could be a law firm. The law firm of Spears and Henry.
Yeah, I mean, look, the only way Brian Robinson for me really, you know, outdoes this projection is he's got to get in the end zone at least once. The yardage hasn't really been there for him. I will say he's at least getting involved in the passing game. You know, he saw 4 targets last week, caught all 4. Not a lot of yardage. But so at least there's that, because there was always the fear that, like, in negative game scripts, they were just going to like strictly use Antonio Gibson, and that hasn't worked either. So They've just said, screw it, we're going to use Brian Robinson all the time now. So that's in his favor, but he's really got to get in the end zone for this to work. And this is a good run defense. So I don't know if it's going to happen.
If my memory serves me correctly, on Friday I mentioned about how Brian Robinson's only playing like 48.8% of the snaps right now, though. That's the super weird thing. It's like they are using him when he's on the field. Why is he not on the field more? That's what I don't want to
low, but
it could have just been the week I was looking at, and that's where I'm getting a little confused in. But I swear I thought it was the full season. He's at 48.8.
Actually only playing 49% of the snaps, but he's getting 65% of the rushing attempts.
That's
routes when he's on the field.
They're using him when he's out there.
Seeing far more work than Antonio Gibson, but yeah, they're splitting it with a little bit of Chris Rodriguez mixed in, and
you just would think there'd be a higher snap percentage there with how much usage he's getting.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like pass blocking on third downs and stuff. Maybe.
I mean, that's smart considering that O-line is on pace to break the record for Sam Howell's sacks. So over 100.
Which is why I'm starting the Falcons defense this week, by the way. A couple of leagues. Because I was like, give me those sacks.
Hoping for a 9-sack performance. All right, we'll move on to the wide receivers here. And another player that's been struggling, Chris Olave, the guy we all thought was going to make the jump and leap into the wide receiver 1 category. ECR has him at 15. You got him at 18. It's not that far off, but 18 is pretty far off than what we thought he was going to be. Joe, what's going on here?
Man, look, it's a little bit of, I mean, Michael Thomas is heavily involved. The quarterback play hasn't been great. The offense just really hasn't really just gotten going there for the Saints, unfortunately. And I'm looking at the matchup this week. I mean, you'd think the Texans, right, good, but honestly, they're pretty stingy. They've really held some people down. Not the biggest, like they've gotten Pittsburgh, they've gotten Atlanta, which is kind of hit or miss, right? They got Baltimore, which really doesn't pass the ball a lot. Although one of their worst games, which was week 1, was against Zay Flowers. They've gotten Indy, which, so like they haven't played like any outside of like Jacksonville. They haven't played any really, really good passing offenses, and even Jacksonville has struggled. So, this could be a game where Olave gets right. You would think, but I mean, this Houston secondary has proven so far this year that they can stop these receivers from getting open.
All right, and then shocker, I made a boo-boo. I forgot somebody. We're going to go back to the running back section. We're going to play a little mixed match here. The RB1 for the Bears, because obviously Dylan's being a little biased here and he wants to talk about him. ECR has him at 24. Joe, you have him at 21. Do you think he gets a boost against the Vikings this week? What's going on? Are you just trying to appease to Dylan's
the odds of Foreman? I mean, you're talking he's the only show in town, right?
That's what I mean. There's a chance he gets 20 touches today. The field might be sloppy.
I don't hate the home run play. Foreman's been okay, like at times in his career. Obviously very, very injured early on. I want to say last year he did pretty well.
Yeah, he ran for. Yeah, I wrote about him in the waiver wire column. He actually ran for over 900 yards and was top 15 in the league in like breakaway run rate and breakaway runs. So he does.
Don't you pull those Mike Davis stats on me?
He's got the big upside too. So that's kind of why I'm interested in him this week. And just I think, like you said, he's the only show in town right now. And there's a chance where he gets 15, 20 touches today.
You're forgetting about the Justin Fields show.
Well. Yeah, yes and no. I mean, look, the one thing you can say is that the Vikings run defense is actually pretty good. It's obviously their secondary that gets beat up. Now, how does that work when a team likes to be run heavy? I don't know, but we've also seen the last couple of weeks where Bears haven't been run heavy and they've been able to pass the ball. So, I think exploiting a weakness on defense is better than trying to, sometimes just force your strength sometimes on it. Just running into a brick wall every time isn't going to really get it done. So I think, Foreman's okay. I mean, I don't love it, but I get it, man. People are desperate at running back right now, and you're clearly starting him if you scooped him up. There's a reason why you did.
Yeah, you picked him up because you need a warm body in that flex position.
Yeah. So
RB2 spot for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I do, trust me, I'm playing some worse people than Donta Foreman. Trust me.
That's completely fair. All right, back to the receivers. And somebody coming off the hamstring injury, he's going to play this week. Mike Evans, ECR wide receiver 18. Joe, you got him at 13. Are you not worried at all about that hammy?
I mean, I guess not. Look, projections like him. And I do too.
Projections know about the hammy.
This guy's been a monster. You know, the Lions can be had in the secondary. As much as this defense has been pretty good, I mean, they just allowed 22 points to Adam Thielen and another 11 to DJ Shark, right? A few weeks before that, Tyler Lockett got him, right? It's Romeo Dobbs got him. Like, this defense can be had. Mike Evans is a big-bodied receiver that doesn't necessarily need to rely on his speed. So, you know, get him in the red zone, give him a jump ball, something like that. I think that's very possible. And yeah, man, like I think this could be one of those. Detroit should get up on this in this game pretty early, and it's going to force a lot of passes for Tampa. And so that's, you know, I think Mike Evans and Baker have something going, and it's weird, but it's working. I mean, he's been really good.
It's like you're trying to manifest me getting silly stringed because I have Chris Godwin in the bet.
When Evans has been on the field, Godwin has not been good.
I don't like it, Joe. I don't like it, but you make a valid argument. Him and Baker have that breakfast connection like Cup and Stafford did when he first got there. All right, on to yet another struggling wide receiver who I am personally hoping has a get-right game this week against the Jets. Devontae Smith, ECR wide receiver 23. Joe, you got him at 26. Obviously, you don't think he's going to have a bounce-back week.
Not even a wide receiver 2 here, Joe.
With Sauce Gardner out, too.
I know, you know, and this is one where when I saw you post it, it's one that I'm going to have to go revisit because, yes, the injuries to both of the corners there in New York do make a difference. So
I don't post
right now,
for defensive players often, but when it's somebody of the caliber of Sauce Gardner
and DJ,
I think that does.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I don't really know which one was going to be guarding him.
Probably DJ,
but it's yeah, the projections don't necessarily like him. I did move him up manually, so I probably need to adjust that even more. I do like him this week. You know, it's risky because you're right. He has not performed.
Not since week 1.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I'm looking at his game log here.
I know your boy AJ is hoping he performs as well.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we've seen, I mean, week 1 and week 2 were okay, right? He got in the end zone. He had 131 yards in week 2 against the Vikings. Then he got shut down against Tampa. Not quite shut down against the Commanders, but last week was like, what happened?
Yeah.
And so, you know, that coincided right to where we heard AJ Brown kind of, you know, chirping on the sideline, you know, rumors of that. And so as soon as you hear that, AJ Brown has blown up, and now Devonta Smith didn't get anything. In fact, even worse, they finally threw the ball to Dallas Goedert, and I wrote about this in the usage article this past week, was the fact that they got Goddard involved and he had a good game. AJ Brown did okay. And then Smith was the one left out. And so it almost seems like this offense can only support 2 of them every game. And so it's just which 2 are going to actually get involved. You know, it seems clear to me that it's AJ Brown, number 1. And then it's on a coin flip right now between Goddard and Smith, maybe slight edge to Smith. But yeah, I'll probably be bumping him up just slightly with both those corners out. And but I mean, we're gonna have to see more targets and more quality targets go his way before we really start believing in him again. I mean, It's just, I mean, yards per target right now is at like 5, 6, 7. That's not great.
So, I mean, let's be real. That offense doesn't look like last year's offense either. It does look like it's taken a couple steps back without Shane Steichen there. So maybe one of those steps is no longer being able to support 3 fantasy pass catchers in that offense, and it is a two out of the 3 for a week.
Well, and also, Swift has just made it.
True.
He's kind of forced their hand to like, hey, you gotta rely on this running game a little bit more than you had in the past.
Which has been working, so you can't argue when
they're still winning games, and that's that's really what matters.
Exactly, that's the Arthur Smith mentality. We're winning games. I mean, at least Sirianni is. I don't know about Arthur, but thank you, Joe, as always, for coming in and giving us a little inside look at your rankings. Let us know what you got going on. Outside of the show, I know you talked about the usage report a little bit, but go for it before you head out.
Yeah, so obviously the rankings are up on the site. You got to be an All Access member to grab those. And then, but yeah, I wrote the usage article. It comes out on Tuesdays. It's where I kind of run through snap counts, targets, number of carries, where the carries are, where the usage is, kind of notice trends before they become trends, hopefully. And then you can make decisions before the rest of your league starts pouncing on some of these guys, or, make the trade knowing that, oh, this guy's been losing work, or you want to go get somebody because he's been gaining work and maybe your league hasn't quite caught on to it yet. And so it's just a little insight into some of the metrics, and if you want to call it that, behind the scenes here of all the, analysis that we do over at Fantasy Six Pack. And hopefully it's been useful for you.
Yeah, it's honestly a great read, and usage stats. That's big when it comes to fantasy football, obviously. So make sure you check that out.
That's how you can find out, that Marvin Mims game didn't mean anything because he's only playing 16% of the damn snaps. Sean Payton, fix that. All right, sorry, that's my
this man the ball. I said that like 2 weeks ago. It makes no sense. But all right, guys, you have a good one. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Appreciate you, Joe. Good luck in the rankings contest.
Peace. Thanks.
All right, so we did have JJ here behind the scenes, but he is having a little bit of technical difficulties. So we'll put him.
You want to touch base on this 18-3 game that we got going on at halftime right now? Like we were talking with the Titans, man, they're just a mess offensively, and even special teams because the guy muffed a punt at like the 5 or 6 yard line. So it's like,
I mean, Justin Tucker owners are loving it right now.
About time, because like you said,
it's true.
You and I were talking to my brother about it. We got kickers in our home league, and Tucker is like
has been brutal.
Kicker 25 or 26 or something.
Brutal. But that's kickers for you. You get one spike game like this, and he's back up into the top 10.
Yeah. But, all right, enough about kickers before we lose all our viewers here, guys.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and bring JJ in.
And we'll get back to the flexes here, but without further ado, welcome in, JJ. How's it going, man? How's your Sunday?
Going pretty good, guys. How are you doing?
Doing all right, man.
Not too bad. Good. Let us know if you need like a little break or whatnot with like the hearing.
Yeah, I'm still kind of figuring out my audio. It's coming through a little choppy, so I just go silent. Just keep going without me.
Sure.
All right. Sounds like a plan. The show must go on, and teamwork makes the dream work. Any more, metaphors I need? But we appreciate all you guys getting in your start-sit questions early, though, while we were doing the earlier segments. It really does help here. So we're going to start with a good friend of the show, Bob Dole. Good morning, my man. He's got 2 lineup questions. Pick 2, Cooper Kupp, Lockett, Mike Evans, Godwin, or Kirk. And we'll just start with there before we move on and muddy the waters. It's Kupp for sure, without a flipping doubt. I'm not as high on Evans this week. I'm a Godwin guy this week because I do think the hammy injury could affect him more than people expect. So I'm going Godwin and Kupp.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in Christian Kirk here as well, Mike, but I feel like Indy plays a ton of zone. And what we learned earlier this season that Christian Kirk eats against man coverage and not so much zone, even though Zay Jones is out this one. So I do kind of want to say him, but I'm going to go Cooper Kupp, and I'm going to go Tyler Lockett actually over Godwin, so we didn't really help
against the
Bob out here
Bengals.
since
Against the
we're
Bengals.
split.
I mean, I
Yeah,
could understand the
okay.
Kirk. You're down Zay Jones, and like you said, he does eat against zone. Christian Kirk does. You can. It's just the last game against the Colts.
Man, and the Colts are
Oh.
are zone. Yes, the Colts play a lot of zone.
Yeah,
so that's what that gives me a little pause with Kirk. Yep.
My little bit of pause is, they already played the Colts already once this year, and Kirk did suffer a little bit. Now Zay Jones was on the field, but it's all Zay Jones did was catch the touchdown. It's not like he really. I mean, I think he had like 5 catches maybe, so it wasn't like an extreme, drastic difference. Yep. But I personally, I'm on the Godwin train this week. Just because I know hammy injuries. I mean, hell, a hammy injury takes me out for a week. I don't know how it doesn't take anybody out for, a couple days, even a football game for that matter. But then to pick 2 running backs, Kamara, Montgomery, and Jonathan Taylor. It's Monty's a lock. 100% is a lock for me.
And I think it's got to be Kamara at the moment, right? We just got to wait until Jonathan Taylor shows you and the Colts offense shows you that they're willing to give him 12 to 15 carries, man, because he's what you loved with Jonathan Taylor when he was the RB1. It was all that volume. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not in on JT until we start to see him get that volume. So give me Kamara and give me David Montgomery, Mike.
I agree with you. We just saw last week Kamara was top 3 in total touches for running backs. Montgomery's without Gibbs again. It's Monty and Kamara until we see more touches in Taylor, because we've seen it before in the past. He's only good when he gets 20-plus touches. I mean, he's the back that needs more touches to be good.
Yep.
All right. Hope we helped you out there, Bob Dole, even though we didn't really help out with the running backs. But Brian Hill, Gabe Davis, DeAndre Swift, or Nico Collins? He needs to fill a wide receiver spot and a flex. I actually am going to go Nico Collins and DeAndre Swift here. I know Gabe Davis has been catching, is it 3 games with the touchdown now? Or 3 straight games with a touchdown. But let's be honest, those touchdowns have saved his ass. And they have saved your fantasy lineup. So, I mean, we love it that it's happened, but it's hard to rely on. It's hard to rely on touchdowns.
No doubt. That's kind of Gabe Davis as a whole and as his career. So I'm with you here. We don't normally agree on a lot of stuff, man. So for us to agree here with DeAndre Swift and Nico Collins, I think that speaks volumes. And we do got JJ back. So why don't we hear his thoughts on this as well? Jordan, we got Gabe Davis. You're good. Got Gabe Davis, DeAndre Swift, or Nico Collins?
Start go to we're gonna go for sure Swift, and I'll go. Tank Dell's out, right? Confirmed.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
I'll go Collins here.
Yep.
Clean.
Make it a clean sweep. Yep. All right. On to the next one now. Well, this one's not really. Dion kicking himself for not starting Flowers. It's all good, man. Hopefully the rest of the lineup goes off.
He's must start, man. I'm telling you, every single week I will never Flowers.
And then Connor goes Drake London, Josh Palmer, or Josh Downs. Pick 2 PPR.
Let you take that one, Jordan. Go ahead.
So PPR, I'm gonna go London and. Ooh, this is tough. I'll go Palmer here, but I can understand anybody that wants to lean Downs on this one.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going. I'm going London and Downs. Last time Gardner started in week 3, Downs saw 12 targets. He's a slot receiver. I think he's just going to get peppered with looks here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the safety of that with it being PPR and give me London and Palmer. Because London's matchup, guys, if you're not starting him this week against Washington, we talked about it in the betting segment with 165 pounds, Emmanuel Forbes trying to cover Drake London out there right now. You got to put him in your lineups this week if you're rostering him. It's an absolute smash spot.
Yeah, this is the best we could play him, but I mean, it all depends on your other options too. Like, I'm not as high on Downs as everybody else is. Like, he was good last week. Don't get me wrong.
And week 3.
Small sample size, 2 weeks out of 5. So still small sample size. Where Drake London has scored a touchdown at least, 3 out of the 5 games, 4 out of the 5 games, and has looked better recently. So give me Palmer and London for this one. All right. Where? Oh gosh, we got so many comments. I love it, guys. We already did that one, Bob. Thank you. All right. Dion wants to know he needs to make up for that Zay Flowers pick. Christian Kirk, Ayuk, Nico Collins, Jordan Addison, Mike Evans. Need one.
It's Daddy Ayuk.
Yeah, agreed.
Mike, you want to elaborate on anything else, or what are you thinking here?
I was choking because there's so many good options to choose from.
It's very good, yeah. Yeah, I see why Zay. If this is the league you had Zay Flowers, I see why he was on your bench as well here now. Now knowing the options.
Yeah, I get it. I get it 100%. The Cleveland Browns play the Niners, though. They've been good, but it is a hot Niners offense. Man, I actually lean Nico Collins here.
I know you're really all in planting your flag on Nico Collins. You should have took him in the silly string picks, man, at this point.
I should have, but I do lean Nico just on the volume alone. Ayuk has the higher ceiling, sure, albeit he can catch 2 touchdowns here, but I think Nico out of all of these guys gets the most targets today.
Fair, man.
All right. And then he also has another one. Higgins, Gabe Davis, Thielen, or Josh Reynolds. Needs one. This one for me, I'm out on Higgins this week, and I'm going to go Thielen.
I actually agree with everything you said, Jeff. I think Higgins could very well just be a decoy this week where he plays 1 or 2 snaps and we get one screen pass to start, and then we don't see him again. Thielen, I don't know how you could keep him out of your top 20 receivers this week the way he's been playing. The fact kept it on last week with Bryce coming back, even though it wasn't Dalton out there. I mean, I don't know how you sit him right now.
I was shocked when he did it with Bryce. That was all. I was just shocked because I thought it was mainly going to be with Dalton, the veteran. But
I'll leave Thielen with you guys, but I am a little worried about the Higgins stuff. Jordan, kind of like what you alluded to, it's going to depend on if he can handle taking a hit or not in his midsection. If he can, he should be all right. But until we find out, it's definitely risky. And Thielen is the opposite of risky right now with what he's seeing in the volume column.
And we've seen it in the past where Higgins comes off an injury and is a straight up decoy in a game. It's been shown before. It's not like we're just trying to predict it. It has actually been shown. And so there's a legitimate fear of him being a decoy again here. So I think we all clean sweeped on Thielen there. I like that.
We did.
All right. Rich wants to know.
I hate these questions, man. I hate them. I hate it. Barkley JT questions are so hard right now.
I'll have to go find it exactly again, but I did get the update about
he's projected to play. Yeah, on Monday I looked it up.
He is projected to play. Yeah. That's the only thing is like, hey man, you can't really with one of those ones where where you don't know. It's hard to just play JT or Madison in that case, but with him expected to play, I mean, I play Barkley.
I don't think I can do it.
I don't have an answer.
I
know it's not going to be fun.
I traded for Barkley in the league yesterday. A trade where I got Derrick Henry and Barkley, and I'm still not going to start him this week. I want to come back and see it at least once. I think back to a few weeks ago. I put Aaron Jones into every single one of my lineups just for him to basically do absolutely nothing. Especially with how banged up this offensive line is, I want to see Barkley back 100% because if he's even just 80% running behind this line, he's going to be ineffective. I think JT gets more work this week. Madison's going to have his normal 15 to 18 touches, so I'm going to go sit Barkley and go the other 2.
I can't sit Barkley when they don't have any other weapons. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets 10 targets from Tyrod Taylor today.
Maybe.
Just because it's Tyrod Taylor and it's not Daniel Jones. Tyrod can run it around too, but he's not as fast as Daniel Jones is to be able to have that escapability. So it might just dump it off 8 times to Barkley. Me personally, I play Barkley here because you're going to be more upset if Barkley scores 30 on your bench than you are if Barkley scores 10 in your lineup.
Mm-hmm. We should mention that the Madison matchup is really good for him as well.
It is
taking on the Bears
against the Bears.
But
they did show life last week.
Yeah, and the Bears get beat up through the air to running backs, and I'm not really sure if that's going to be Alexander Madison. You know what I mean? So yeah, that one's really tough on what you should do.
It's a gut feel. If you believe in Barkley's talent, go with Barkley. But if you don't, I lean Madison over.
Jordan
JT.
said that offense is just in shambles right now as a whole. I don't know if Saquon can help.
Even as a Cowboys fan, I just feel bad for him, honestly. Like it's not even like fun to enjoy watching him play this bad. And then you have Daniel Jones go down. It's just like, oh man, this is brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's a addition by subtraction with Daniel Jones.
I don't think so.
I just wanted to. Deanne, Mixon, James Cook. He needs one for the flex. And then Higgins, Michael Thomas, Jacoby Myers, one wide receiver. We'll do the wide receiver first, get that out of the way, and then we can use the flex.
Probably Jacoby Myers, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is out of these three options. Michael Thomas would be the other option because of the whole Higgins decoy thing, but Jacoby Myers
100% played Higgins over Michael Thomas. Eat me.
even with this decoy stuff, stuff.
You guys are more worried about it than I am, but I get the fear of it. I truly do.
Like you said, if he could take a shot to the ribs,
Yeah.
awesome. But if he can't, that hurts. It's not easy to breathe when you got a rib injury, man. But then, I think it's a clean sweep on the wide receiver start with Jacoby Myers. And then who we got for the flex? I'm leaning Mixon right off the bat.
I think it's Mixon too. There's the guaranteed volume he gets every week, right?
Who were they playing this week? Buffalo's got, let's see here.
I can't remember who Buffalo has.
They play the Giants. Buffalo's gets the Giants and the Bengals.
Sunday night.
The Seahawks.
Monday night.
I'll go Cook here, actually. I'll go Cook.
Fair
enough. Wow, after that five carry, -4 yard performance last week, huh?
Yeah.
Bounce back.
Giants are going to be a get-right game for him.
No, you're not wrong. That is a get-right team.
Uh-huh.
All right, so we got another one from Dion. He's in a lot of leagues. I like it, Dion. It's commitment. Mike Evans, Jacoby Myers, Gabe Davis, Tutu Atwell, Michael Thomas. Need one.
Jacoby Myers.
I still lean Jacoby Myers. Just
a little worried about the hamstring of Mike Evans.
But you're not worried about a ribs with T. Higgins. I get it.
It's different, man. If you re-aggravate a hamstring, you're done for the day. If Higgins can tolerate the pain, the rib's not going to get worse.
You're right. You can tolerate the pain as a decoy.
I'm not a doctor, but
you could definitely tolerate the pain as a decoy. All right. JB needs to know, am I starting Elijah Moore over Chuba Hubbard or Josh Reynolds? He really needs to beat Jeff Lambert in this matchup.
I don't think you're starting Elijah Moore with PJ Walker as quarterback today.
I'd go Hubbard. I know it's not fun, but it's guaranteed volume with Hubbard, with Miles Sanders ruled out.
Man, I feel like if you're swinging for the fence, I'm almost going Josh Reynolds here. If you need a big
the higher ceiling,
touchdown upside for sure. Yeah,
higher upside is Josh, but safer floors.
Yeah, with Sun God coming back, it's not. Josh Reynolds' role isn't taking a hit. You know what I mean? Like Amon-Ra is mostly in the slot. Josh Reynolds is going to be on the outside and a red zone threat still. So I kind of like Josh Reynolds here as well, but the safer play is definitely Hubbard because he should see a ton of volume.
Yeah, at least 15 touches. Look at Jeff's team, Jamie. If you think his team's going to go off this week, put in Josh Reynolds for the touchdown upside. But if you think you just need to play it safe, Hubbard is a fine option out of those three. All right. And then Carr wants to know, Ramondre Stevenson or Drake London this week? Standard league.
And we killed her last week, Mike. I don't think either option was very good, but she asked the same question last week. But I'm going to go Drake London this week. I kind of already gave my spiel on him.
I've seen the rest of her team. The rest of her team is good enough to where if we fuck this up, she'll be fine.
Fair enough. Where are you guys going here?
The safer play Stevenson, in my opinion, but this is
safe, Mike. We've seen the floor of Ramondre the last few weeks where he scored you 5 fantasy points. That's the last.
We talked about it on Friday, though. He's actually getting more targets and more receptions than last year, too, though. I know this is standard league, but that's more touches. All right. In a standard league, RBs have the clear advantage because of the amount of touches they get. But you've been sitting Drake London for how many weeks? Probably. This is the 1 week out of any that you could get away with playing him and feel somewhat confident. Like I legit already told her because she asked me this in a personal message. You could get away with playing either one of these guys. It doesn't bother me if you want to play either of them because Drake London should have a solid game this week. But
all right, man.
It's a tough question. I mean, you got Ramondre Stevenson, Dylan. I know you're over there freaking out. That's why you gave me that attitude right there.
I'm still plugging him away. I'm sorry. It is what it is. But I would rather start Drake London here. I'm actually Mike, you're probably gonna think this is blasphemy. I'm starting Drake London over Nico Collins this week in a league.
Blasphemous. Absolute blasphemous.
I'm in on London this week. This could come back.
You need to be ostracized right now. This is ridiculous. Nico Collins over Drake London all day. All right. Your brother wants to know Derek Carr or Bryce Young. This is for the American Raz League. I already know. Saints play the Patriots and then
no, Saints played Patriots last week, man. Stop doing that.
I'm sorry, Texans. My bad. I'm looking at the damn sheet. I can't read.
And then,
I've admitted I'm illiterate.
Then we got
and then Panthers play the Dolphins. Panthers play the Dolphins. They're gonna have to play catch up the whole game. Play Bryce Young. He's probably gonna have a couple picks.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be some garbage time for him there to maybe stack up some points in the fourth quarter. So yeah, I'll go Bryce Young as well.
I'll go Carr. I think he's a safer play, but I get it.
Are you playing him?
Get it with the Young.
Are you playing him in the American Raz? Is that why you're giving him the shitty?
No, I have no idea honestly, but I
just think there's more volume there for Young this week.
Yeah,
You're playing the Dolphins; they could go up 70-20. You know,
we've seen it before.
So true. And then George wants to know, is he playing Tua or Fields this week? He's worried the Dolphins kill the game too early and run the ball, which is a valid argument.
I know Tua doesn't throw enough touchdowns. It's always a damn run with Achane or Mostert. I mean, obviously Achane's gone now, but I think it's just
Salvin Ahmed this week too.
Yeah.
But I think it's Fields. You ride the hot wave of what is this? 11 touchdowns in the league right now for passing for Fields. I think that's tied right now or leading. So I mean that's damn impressive. And then Jose wants to know Salvin Ahmed or Zeke Elliott half-point PPR. Give me Ahmed.
Yeah, it's Ahmed for me as well.
Yep, give me Ahmed. Game script probably will favor him more than Zeke.
Yeah.
It's not fun, but here's the thing. Jeff Wilson is ruled out, so Ahmed is the number 2.
Yeah, I just think you can't give a full role to Mostert like 80% of the snaps because he's going to wear down. That's why I think Ahmed, he's not as good as Achane, but I think he could fill the role-ish because he's also another quick, shifty guy for sure.
Easily fall into the end zone. It wouldn't surprise us with this offense.
What do you think, Jordan?
I'm going to go... I'll go. Man, this is a dirty one. I guess I'll go Zeke here, just because I feel more confident that he's going to get like 8 touches.
When it's dirty like this, like I almost just kind of shoot for the stars, like because
I can understand that.
Floor is going to be about even.
Yeah, and then real quick on that last one, the Tua Fields, I would say just trust your gut, man. Like, they're both solid QB1s this week. If you have a feeling about the Dolphins, go with Fields. I think you can't really go wrong on those two. Would be my advice there.
And I actually had a buddy of mine message me this morning and asked me personally, Fields or Justin Herbert. What do we do there at that point, guys? That's tough too.
I'm going Herbert there, man. I feel like are putting up like 55 on us this week, man. I'm not looking forward to it.
Right on.
I just think Herbert's just a more talented QB than Tua, so it's a better option than Fields. So I lean the more talented option there. I know they're down Mike Williams, but they still got Keenan Allen.
Not smart.
They got Josh. I said talented. I didn't say smart.
You did. I was going to say Tua and Brock Purdy are like on a different planet on people's being able to
their processing speed is just kind of off the charts. I know you wish Fields had a little bit more of that.
Yeah, Fields is the opposite of both of those guys, which is fine.
Just talented freak of nature out on the field. Uh-huh. All right. Jason wants to know Tyler Lockett or Josh Palmer?
Tyler Lockett.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Really? I actually lean Palmer, but I understand the Lockett. I just like I was
gonna say, why do you lean Palmer? Because I don't
like JJ said, they're gonna drop. They might drop 55 points or 50 points here. Somebody's got to do that scoring. I know Ekeler's probably going to have a decent day. Keenan Allen's going to have a decent day, but if you get 40 plus points in an offense, Palmer's going to be involved.
I'm just watching the Titans once they get in the red zone, just throw corner route, fade ball to DeAndre Hopkins over and over again.
And they just keep throwing pass interference calls for Hopkins. That's like the third one so far. Like, let the guys play.
That's funny.
I mean, like you said, we don't always agree. I actually go Palmer on this one over Lockett. But majority rules, they did say Lockett, Jason.
What up, Josh?
He wants to know, Damian Pierce or Hubbard, half-point PPR. It's Pierce. Same's got the both have the same volume. Pierce has the higher ceiling, though.
It's a tough matchup against New Orleans, though, man.
It is a tough matchup. Ooh, Panthers play the Dolphins, though.
I know. I kind of lean Hubbard here.
Really?
Slightly, yeah.
I stick with my horse, Pierce. And I think, JJ, you agreed with Pierce?
Yeah, oh yeah, easy there on that one. Guaranteed workload, yeah.
And then Clayton says, do we have confirmation on Laporta playing? If not, would you rather have Ertz or Schultz? I did get confirmation that Laporta said he is playing. I haven't gotten like an inactive or active yet.
Yeah, we haven't got the full list of stuff yet.
But I did see a tweet where he was
he's a 1 o'clock game too.
And he practiced Friday, which is always a good sign. Jason, I got Higgins, but I'm scared. Me too, buddy. Me too. I invested
one
a lot
thing
of Higgins.
on that on the Laporta question there, if you're worried about it, grab Ertz and throw him on the bench because they both play 1 o'clock games, or I guess 4 o'clock up here on the East, 1 o'clock out here, and then that way, if he is a late scratch, you got somebody you can run there. That's what I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
Makes sense. All right, I'm trying to get the Facebook questions here.
Come on, man. Rookie move.
Whoa. I've been talking the whole time. You could have done it.
I'm not the host.
I'm the hostess that doesn't have the mostest right now. I can't find it right now. I'm sorry. I think you posted it. There it is. There it is. You posted it so many times.
You got it or no?
No, I don't. You go. Take it.
Curtis, we got one from Joey.
I found it.
Go ahead. Take it.
Oh, that's funny. All right, top comments. Shut it. I told you, illiterate. I can admit it. Fabio wants to know, is that Jamison Williams or Gabe Davis? That's Gabe Davis.
That's Gabe.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Then Joey wants to know, ooh, this one's good. 16-man team. Curtis Samuel versus the Falcons. Amari Cooper versus the Niners, or Craig Reynolds versus the Buccaneers. Full point PPR. I lean Cooper in this one. I gave the stats on Friday. I don't know if you were going to say it, Dylan, or whatnot, but PJ Walker supported 2 top 25 performances from DJ Moore last year out of the 3 full starts that he got. The other one was wide receiver 60. It is, but that's 66.6% chance of having a top 25 day from Amari Cooper.
So, yeah, I'm with you. It's Amari Cooper for me as well.
The first receiver you said there?
Curtis Samuel versus the Falcons.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you guys.
We got a couple live ones down, Mike, coming up.
Oh.
We got one back from Dion. Do I start Detroit defense or someone else? I can't imagine someone else is better on your waiver wire than the Detroit defense right now, because that's where I went in all my leagues as a streaming option as well. Baker Kett, I mean, he's been better. Baker has been much better, but there is that he's going to get sacked a couple times, and there's a chance that he could throw a pick or two. So give me the Lions. That's fine.
Yeah, it's probably not a defense out there. Clayton says we skipped him.
Eddie wants to know who the RB1 for Arizona is this week. And this is really tough. Keontae Ingram or Mercado, Dr. Mercado, Jordan. You being the dynasty guy, let's let you start here. I don't know if you did a lot of work on Mercado coming out or even Keontae Ingram, but what are your thoughts here on this Arizona backfield?
For long-term dynasty-wise, I mean, I don't think any of them are more than just kind of a couple week plays here. I think that you'll see Keontae Ingram get like the first touches, but I think DeMarcado is going to get the touches you want on like passing downs and near the goal line. So if you're kind of in a desperation play, I say start DeMarcado. But as far as like dynasty goes, if either of these guys have a big game, I'd be looking to sell.
Sure.
T. Higgins is officially active. David Njoku officially active.
Underdog NFL, huh?
Shut it. Tank Dell inactive. Robert Woods active. Elijah Mitchell active so far.
Yep.
And then Clayton, if you didn't hear for Laporta, we said Laporta we think's playing, and I said if you're worried about it, grab Ertz. Throw him on your bench because they both play at the 1 o'clock window. So if Laporta plays, you got somebody you can throw in there. But if Laporta's playing, and it sounds like you, I'd say go and throw him in there.
Yeah, I'd be playing Ertz over Laporta if you're scared, but otherwise Laporta is expected to play. Well, if we get an inactive or active, we'll let you know. All right, on to the next question. Oh,
You're welcome, pal.
No problem, man.
it's all right. We know you're probably taking care of Bryson. We get it. Dad life. All right. Robbie wants to know, Jonathan Taylor or Moss, or does he play both and sit Hollywood? Full point PPR.
Could you say that again? Sorry, I was just watching some weird things happen in this football game. Could you repeat that?
That's all right. I know you don't listen to me. Jonathan Taylor or Zach Moss, or should he play both and then sit Hollywood Brown? Full point PPR. I would sit JT.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's Zach Moss until you can't anymore.
Really, you're still going Moss over JT this week?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know how much of a workload increase he gets. They just said he's going to get
in Hollywood here.
Jordan, just my thing is when JT was eating that RB1 season, he was seeing all of the volume. Now, even I know they said they're going to get it worked in more, but if he's only getting 50% of the touches, if it's 10 to 12 carries, is he going to be viable enough to be the guy that he has been?
I don't know, man. I feel like I feel like he can be. I think that like as soon as they see he's back fully in game shape, played his way, and he's going to go right back to being that top 3-4 running back.
Sure.
Especially after they paid him that much money. Like I don't think they're going to run him into the ground, but they're also not going to like use him sparingly once he's ready to go. So yeah, I'll go JT in Hollywood here. I just
feel like he's going to look like. I feel like he's going to look like Josh Jacobs out the gate because wasn't really a part of practice, really wasn't a part of the training camp. Like it was all on him to try and stay in shape. Not, he may not be in game shape. You know what I mean? Like the carries last week didn't look great.
No.
So, I mean, if you give him more and he still doesn't look great, you know what I mean? I lean Zach Moss in that case, but I want to see what the workload entails. You know, like last week, we heard Solid go, Breece Hall is going to get the workload. All right. And then we saw it. That's what I want to see first before. Now, last week, Breece Hall played the Broncos, so you're playing him either way because that matchup is just so sweet to play your running backs against. But, they're not playing the Broncos this week. So it's like.
So I guess on this one, then, what's the difference, I guess, for you on like him and Saquon? Because I feel like they're very similar, but Saquon's even more risky.
No one's behind Saquon like JT has Moss.
So mostly just the Moss thing there.
Yeah, the Moss has played well enough to where if they stop playing him, there is a good chance that he could lose the locker room as a coach. Like, because why wouldn't you play this guy? He's been playing so well. He's been giving them a chance to win.
No, fair enough. I was just curious on that one because I feel like they're kind of similar boats. You can kind of throw Aaron Jones in there too. I guess out this.
You could throw Aaron Jones in there because it's
kind of in that mix of like it's a little bit risky there. Yeah.
I just look at really like you got Matt Breida behind Saquon. Matt Breida's not Moss. Matt Breida's not AJ Dillon.
Sure.
Falcons defense or the Raiders defense this week. Falcons play the Commanders, like Joe said, or you get the Raiders defense against New England, whose offense is absolutely dead last, I'm pretty sure. Here's the thing. When you're targeting defenses, you want sacks, turnovers. Now, Mac Jones has been giving a lot of turnovers here recently, but he hasn't been getting sacked as much as Sam Howell. So I kind of lean the Falcons defense on this one.
That's where I lean as well.
I'm going to go Raiders here. I'm pretty much starting everyone against Patriots right now until they show just a semblance of, looking like a semi-pro football team on offense.
How many sacks does Max Crosby have today against Mac Jones? That's the question.
I'll give him like 1.5. I don't think it's going to be like a monster game, but I'll give him like 1.5 and like a sack fumble.
And then over under, does Mac Jones have more interceptions than Max Crosby has sacks?
That's a
maybe.
Maybe.
I think I'm taking the Mac interceptions on that one. I think.
All right, on to the next one. Vonnie wants to know he's got to start 2 full point PPR positions here. Zach Moss, Jonathan Taylor again. That's a popular question today. Ramondre Stevenson, Chuba Hubbard, or Deontay Foreman? And I know that one's throwing Dylan for a loop here because he wants to say Deontay Foreman.
I did. It's Foreman and Moss for me. Totally gross. Those are two names you never. Well, you might have thought Foreman was going to get some work.
Those are like
this
week
draft
17
season,
names that you're
guys
playing.
that you did not think you were going to be starting in your lineups in week 6 of the NFL season.
Man, Foreman, he's the guy I wrote about in the preseason as a deep sleeper. Like, once he took over the job last year in Carolina, he was on pace for like 1,300 rushing yards and 9 scores. He's been productive since he's been back. Like, one of the few cases we've seen of a guy tearing his Achilles and coming back and being like a legit fantasy option for an extended stretch there. I think I'm going to go Foreman here too. Foreman and Moss, agree.
Derrick Henry touchdown, fellas.
Yes, I needed that. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's a good run too. Made a couple guys miss, and
look what happens when you use your best running back.
Is Tennessee gonna come back and win this game? Like, the weird thing that I saw earlier that I said when I didn't hear your question, Mike, was Lamar overthrew a ball to Bateman on the sideline, but it looked like Bateman moved his hands out of the way for the defender to be able to pick it off. That's why it looked totally weird. Like, instead of just like trying to break it up because it was too high, Bateman just moved his hands. That's what they really might lose this game. That would be wow.
Ooh,
if the Titans win this game,
go ahead, Jordan.
That'd be a comeback. Real quick, for IDP players out there, Dre Greenlaw for the Niners is out. That's a pretty big one for IDP guys. He just got announced out. So if you had him in your lineup, IDP guys, make adjust there.
Fred Warner, eat some more.
If Baltimore loses this week too, man, that's devastating blow after blowing that game to Pittsburgh last week and that just gross matchup that those two had.
Yeah, they need wins in that division.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's not an easy division, and they're just throwing away games if they're going to let the
What's the score in that one? I had it turned off. But
18-13, I think, after 13? The extra point. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. That's crazy.
All right. I never gave my answer, but I'm actually Stevenson and Moss. Stevenson, Matthew wants to know, Stevenson versus the Raiders or Alexander Madison versus Chicago, or does he take a chance on Zach Moss at Jacksonville? All right, out of those 3 options, I'll lead Zach Moss.
Oh man, my gut says Madison. I don't have a lot of good numbers to back that up, just kind of a gut play.
Yeah, it's a good matchup there too. I think I lead Jordan here. I don't know. I don't know.
Your heart says Stevenson because you have him so many places, but then you're like, man, the Chicago run defense is so bad.
Give me Madison. Ugh.
I lead Moss. Oh man.
So Higgins,
I lead Moss.
You guys like Higgins or like a Damian Pierce this week?
I'm going Higgins, man. I am.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm going
Trust
Pierce.
the big man. Trust the big man.
That's like one of the big lineup decisions I'm going back and forth on in one of my main leagues right now is those two.
Ever since they used T. Higgins as a decoy in the past, I don't trust it. They can do it at any point again.
Higgins or Josh Reynolds, Jordan, when you're already starting Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I think if you're already starting Amon-Ra, who's Detroit got again? They're Tampa Bay. That's tough. It's not a great matchup. Yeah. I think in that one you go Higgins. It's because I don't like starting like 2 receivers, which is kind of weird because if they're
especially if they're going to be up,
no issue with it. But 2 wide receivers for some reason, I think I'd rather go Higgins there. And
they wouldn't be shocking if the Lions are up too, and they don't even need to pass it very much. Oh man, that one sucks. Ooh, Kinsey wants to know Justin Fields or Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy.
I'll go Fields there. I'll go Fields. Yeah.
The matchup for Purdy is just not good, but it honestly might not matter. Like, I'm struggling between Purdy and Dak in another league, Jordan, too. Luckily,
I don't think that's a tough question. I don't think that's hard at this point. I traded for Goff this week in the league, and I mentioned Dak. Like, I think Dak is kind of your QB3 that can be your QB2 at this point until he proves otherwise.
Even against the Chargers, huh?
One of my bigger misses, man. Like, I should have known this was coming. I've been one of the most consistent like Mike McCarthy haters. Like, I wake up in the morning, have my McCarthy. That's like what I do. And so it's just so predictable that the offense looks like this. It's a bummer, but yeah, I'm going the other way on that one. I think you go for Purdy there.
Welcome to the 2015 bland Packers passing offense.
Dude, it's so frustrating, man.
It really
Well,
is.
Texas Coast, is that what they kept calling it on?
Yeah, dude, oh my God, I want to
that
slap
was
everybody.
brutal. Yeah, that was brutal, man.
It's not the West Coast. It's the Texas Coast. I will say this though. Brock Purdy has been playing pretty damn phenomenal, and this is kind of the barometer for him this week, playing against the Cleveland Browns. If he can have a good two touchdown week like he has been, against bad teams, I think Purdy's probably in your lineups for the rest of the year.
4 touchdowns against Cowboys was his game where it's like, okay, he's legit.
I know.
Now, granted, they were down Trayvon Diggs, though. I mean,
still though, he shredded us, bro. Like we had no chance. It felt helpless as a fan watching that game.
I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see what Myles Garrett does. Does he pressure him enough to kind of get in his processing noggin? This is an interesting name. Well, damn, on Facebook is his name. Full point PPR. Which tight end to start? George Kittle versus the Browns, Logan Thomas versus the Falcons, Jake Ferguson against the Chargers, or Cole Kmet against the Vikings?
Ooh, Kmet.
I lean Kmet in that one too.
I did too.
Wait, Kmet and then Kittle.
Logan Thomas has been sneaky good too, and the Falcons like to give up yards to the tight end, so I think it's between Thomas and Kmet for me. I think both of those are solid options. Remember, the tight ends suck. All right. Also, he's trying to debate on a defense to stream here. I already think I got mine on the first one. Falcons versus the Commanders, Lions versus the Bucks, Dolphins versus Panthers, Vikings versus Bears, Raiders versus Patriots, Seahawks versus Bengals. I lean the Lions versus the Bucks, and if you didn't have that option, I'd go Atlanta versus the Commanders.
Yeah, it's Lions.
That was a lot to process at once, but I think I agree with the Lions there.
The best defense there was the Lions, and then the best matchup was the Falcons versus Commanders.
Baltimore punting it away again, guys. Back
go
Jesus. Baltimore. What are you doing, Todd Monken? You gotta act like Mark Andrews is Brock Bowers. Start throwing the ball more.
Brock Bowers keeps getting it on jet sweeps. I don't know if you want to do that with Mark Andrews.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, Mark Andrews can't do that. Chad wants to know he needs 3 of these guys. Ooh, these are just good picks. Ekeler coming off the injury. DeAndre Swift, Pollard, or Kyron Williams? I think I'm sitting Pollard.
And I think it's Ekeler, Pollard, and Williams. Because
you're sitting Swift?
I am sitting Swift because the matchup for Kyron Williams is good.
I'm sitting Pollard though.
I'm going with talent here, man. I'm gonna go with Pollard. I'm sitting Kyron Williams. I forget who the other 2 were. Swift and
Ekeler. Yep.
Ekeler, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna sit Kyron here. I'm gonna go with the 3 guys I think are the most talented.
Yeah, totally fair.
All right. Joe Burrow or Jared Goff today? That one's Joe Burrow.
I actually said Goff, man. I feel safer with Goff, especially getting Sun God back. We don't. Is what we saw for the Bengals for real? Is that going to continuing to happen here? It was Arizona.
Asked me on Friday if they were in my circle of trust. I said no, they're not. But this matchup's a good one to get into the circle of trust, Fokker. So
yeah, I'll go Burrow, but it's close, man. Like if you got a gut feeling on Goff, I'm okay going that way.
Jinxie can't. It's a circle of trust, Fokker. Needs a quarterback. Best available is Dak Prescott, Josh Dobbs, Gardner Minshew, Sam Howell, or Baker Mayfield.
It's Dak.
It's Dak
out of those options. Yeah, out of those options, your best one's Dak.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Ooh, Jordan Addison or Brandon Ayuk?
I'll go Ayuk here still, but I do think Addison's a must start this week, so find a way to get both in your lineup.
Give me Ayuk as well. Jalen Johnson is back for the Bears this week. Help out the secondary. Kyler Gordon as well was possible return, so Bears secondary should be better. So give me Ayuk.
Man, I'll take Ayuk, but I don't like it. I like the uptick in Addison's workload, but I think TJ Hawkins is the biggest winner out of that Justin Jefferson injury. But yeah, play Ayuk there. All right. Guys, make sure you get in your questions here. We only got about 15 more minutes left, and then you get Dave Eddy and Chris Robbin talking DFS for you. All right. So Christian wants to know he needs a flex, full point PPR. Ooh, I can't believe it's come to this. Jalen Waddle versus the Panthers. Dr. Mercado versus the Rams. Keontae Ingram versus the Rams. Or Jonathan Taylor versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jalen Waddle.
That's
Yeah,
why I can't
Waddle.
believe it's come to this.
Yeah. Waddle pretty easily in that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Waddle, baby, Waddle, baby, Waddle. Yep, it's Waddle. All right, Jason, Josh Palmer or Tyler Lockett. I think we may have answered this question already, and I think you guys lean Lockett.
Yeah, we answered it in the live question. Yep.
You guys lean Lockett. I lean Palmer on that one. All right. So I got to go to this other post now because I know we had some there. Give me a second here. There we go.
Discord, see if we got any here too.
Yep. Mixon or James Cook?
Mixon or James Cook? Mixon.
That's Mixon for me.
We had a question earlier. I went Cook on this one.
Yeah, that one's Mixon for me. And then, all right. Ooh, Deontay Foreman, Chuba Hubbard, Ramondre Stevenson. Which one and why?
Deontay Foreman, Chuba Hubbard, Ramondre Stevenson. It's Deontay Foreman.
Foreman, yeah, I agree. All the reasons I said before, man. On pace for 1,300 yards once he took over the job last year. Nobody really there in the backfield. I worry about taking touches from him.
I was just going to ask, who's the backup this week?
It's Darrington Evans.
Darrington Evans, I think,
He's back. He's back in the mix.
And Foreman, like I said earlier, top 15 in breakaway runs and breakaway run rate last year. So he's big play wait to happen as well. So
whenever I hear those stats, I always just think Mike Davis and how I was so in on him. So it's hard to get excited about those stats. All right. Oh man. Well, you can't. One of these options is no longer valid because it's Hopkins. But Gabe Davis or Zach Moss, non-PPR.
That's Gabe Davis for me. Shoot for the.
If it's non-PPR, I lean Moss.
I kind of
standard league, basically.
I think I do too. There, I think if it's
Gabe Davis with touchdown upside.
Yeah.
Zach Moss with the upside.
That upside cap, boy.
Yep. All right, and then
Baltimore interception.
There he is. Dead arm Tannehill.
There it is. Man. He's gonna take it. Yep, there it is. They're driving interception. There's the Tannehill we all know and love.
Yep, just saw it. Underthrown ball, too.
That's funny. And then I got here from Frank. Oh, my bad. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, it doesn't look like he got hit on the throw. Got rocked a little bit.
I mean, yeah, that O-line has not been playing well, and I know it's pretty banged up also.
Their best offensive lineman's Peter Skronsky, the rookie.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he had didn't he have an injury or something going on medically?
Yeah.
I think it was something to do with his appendix. I could be misspoken, though. All right. Frank wants to know, Kirk Cousins or Matthew Stafford this week? Vikings against the Bills. Stafford against the that's Bears, Bills. The Bills.
Give me Rams, man. That offense is humming.
Go Stafford here. I agree.
Yep, give me Stafford.
We actually did a trade with LaPlant in one of our dynasty leagues to get Stafford this week. Jordan, did you see the trade?
I did. I like that one.
I overpaid a bit, but I'm going for it. Yeah.
Yeah, might as well.
It's all right. I overpaid to get Stafford last year, so I had to repay the favor. All right. Mick wants to know, pick 2 PPR. Ooh, Nico Collins, New Orleans, against New Orleans. Hollywood Brown against the Rams, or Deontay Foreman against the Vikings. Nico Collins is a lock for me, and I will take Foreman against the Vikings.
I'll go Hollywood.
He has been surprisingly.
He's been
really
good
well
every
this
week,
year.
man. Yeah,
with Josh Dobbs. I got a personal one here for you guys. Hollywood Brown or Amari Cooper?
I'll go Hollywood here just because of the quarterback play.
I think you go Hollywood as well. Yep.
You don't
Which
trust
is crazy
the
that
Walker
because
show?
of the quarterback play, and he has Josh Dobbs throwing. That's what a wild year this is.
Yeah.
So you trust Josh Dobbs over PJ Walker. I get it.
Yep.
Both have been in their situations for about the same time. They got traded pretty
20
much.
minutes, yeah.
Yeah. But like Dylan likes to say, one's a rocket scientist.
Yep.
It's not PJ Walker.
That is correct. Guy couldn't even beat out Nate Peterman to make the Bears roster, man.
You know what though? He played better than Baker Mayfield did for the Panthers did last year.
It's true. It's weird. Weird league, man.
It is a weird league.
This league.
All right. Hetty wants to know, is he flexing Debo, Jacoby Myers, or T. Higgins? Half-point PPR.
That one, I think it's Jacoby Myers. Just plant that flag with me. He needs to be a wide receiver too with the volume he's getting, man. Give me Myers here.
So if you had Jacoby
Debo.
Myers instead of Josh Reynolds in the home league, would you be starting Jacoby over T?
I would.
I like it. All right.
We
Matt
got some
Walsh
in the
here.
Okay, you still got some? All right.
I was gonna say, do you have?
I got a few in the Discord, just ones that
Yeah,
we
go for
answered yesterday and stuff. We got sit one, Mike Evans, Chris Olave, DK Metcalf, Jacoby Myers. This is interesting, man.
I'd
And I
say
get why
Evans.
this is a questions.
I think I'd say
Evans, Olave, Metcalf, Myers.
Yeah, I'll
It's
say
between
Evans.
Olave and Evans for me, and I'm gonna use the tiebreaker as the hammy. So
Yeah.
I'll sit Evans.
Yeah, I'm with you. Next one from Miguel. Michael Pittman or Christian Kirk this week with no Zay Jones?
That's a tough one.
I think Pittman
I'll
takes
go
a bounce
Kirk.
back. I like Pittman this week with Minshew. I know he targeted downs last week, but that was because he had to come into the game, middle of the game.
Come
Like
on, week
Minshew.
32.
Well, I mean, Minshew liked Pittman week 3. I'm pretty sure Pittman had an all right game week 3. So, it is a close one here, but I do lean Kirk just because of the better QB.
Yeah, I'll go Kirk here. It's close though.
Yep, clean sweep. Nick said he's got Waller, who's questionable, and plays the night game, or would you just go Komet against the Vikings today? I think I'd go Komet.
I think I'd go Komet here, play it safe, yeah. And I mean, you run the fact that Waller could have one of those 15 to 18-point games, but Tyrod Taylor behind that offensive line, I think I'd rather just go Komet here. I feel pretty confident he's going to have 8 to 10 points as a floor.
Yeah, I feel more like I just traded away Darren Waller in the league. Like he's just, I mean, I know personally he's pissing me off, but that offense is pissing me off even more.
Jonathan Chan, would you play Saquon here, or would you just play it safe and go Salvin Ahmed at the 1 p.m. games?
No, that's
you got to
not
make the decision early.
That's
too.
not a better option in my opinion. Like
That's
the
a
last one
Saquon
we had better options with Barkley on the other question before, wasn't it? Like I can pull up the question.
Well, I got another one here for you. Would you go Barkley or would you go Chuba or Dr. Mercado?
Thinking
It's
of
closer
that
with
one,
Chuba.
yeah,
It's
thinking
closer.
that one, I go Chuba.
I still go Barkley, man. If they're gonna use one weapon at all tonight with Tyrod Taylor, it's gonna be Barkley.
I would say on that first question, I would, instead of Matt, just see if you can grab Matt Breida and then just roll with Barkley, and worst case throw Breida, because I feel like Breida and Ahmed's not that huge of a difference, really. And
Yeah.
I'd just put that
Yeah, he
out
actually
and
said in the Discord that Breida is a free agent if Barkley doesn't play. So he should
That's
probably
probably
grab
right.
that insurance right now. Like now.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I with Tyrod Taylor being the starter, I actually think that's an uptick for Barkley in my opinion. Do you have any more? Because I have a couple questions.
Nope,
here,
go
if
ahead.
not.
Go ahead, take it, Mike.
All right. Matt wants to know Drake London or Deontay Foreman in the flex, half-point PPR.
Ooh. My two guys this week. Give me Drake London though.
I agree there. I'll go London here.
With it being half-point PPR, I actually favor Foreman. Yeah,
All right.
I favor Foreman there. All right.
Lamar just got tripped up at about the 10, and if he didn't get tripped up by his shoelaces, he's probably into the end zone there, and it stopped him to 3rd and 3 too.
Oh, this
Big
one's a
play.
good one here. Hetty wants
Oh,
to know. Wait,
Dude,
actually,
Lamar
yeah,
is crazy, man. He's so good.
he's good at evading tackles. We
He's
saw the
even
throw
throwing
earlier
all
though.
today. He had like the one bad throw, but I think he started like 9 for 9 or something today.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
It's better. His receivers, I mean, at least
Ooh,
aren't
he
dropping
took a
all those
shot there,
passes.
too. Looked like it right in his face mask.
So, Brees Hall versus the Eagles defense, or on the opposite side, do you want DeAndre Swift versus the Jets defense?
Ouch,
Half-point
ouch.
PPR.
Whew. I'll go Brees here, I think. Ooh, that's tough. Yeah, I'll go Brees here.
The workload favors Brees.
Too. Yeah, I think that's where I lean as well.
The matchup favors Swift. I'd lean workloads over matchups, even though the workload for Swift has been actually pretty good. It's for the most part 20 plus touches a game.
Yeah.
But Brees Hall saw 25 last week just on the ground. Now it's not going to be ugly. I mean, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be ugly. But yeah, it's Brees. All right. Needs a defense here. Detroit Lions versus Tampa. Ooh, Saints versus Houston. Or Raiders versus the Patriots.
Say again.
Lions versus the Bucks. Saints versus the Texans. Or Raiders versus the Patriots. I actually lean.
Yeah, we kind of
talked.
We touched on this earlier too. And give me the Lions here as well. Still,
the Saints are a good option though. I mean, they've been pretty damn well against offenses so far, but we have been planting our flag on CJ Stroud and Nico Collins, or at least I have. So I'm standing with it. I think Stroud's probably the best QB the Saints are going to play so far. That's saying a lot considering he's a rookie. Okie dokie. Oh, Kittle versus the Browns or Dallas Goedert versus the Jets. Both have been pretty brutal.
Give me Kittle.
I'll go Goddard here.
Ooh, I get to be the tiebreaker here. I actually take Kittle this week. I don't think they need Goddard versus the Jets.
I agree.
That's what I don't think they need him, but I don't think Kittle's going to have a 3-touchdown week off 3 catches again, guys. So temper your expectations.
It just seems like to be the most George Kittle thing ever to go from a 3-touchdown game to like a 2-target game the next week. Yeah.
3 catches, 3 touchdowns to 3 targets, no receptions.
Yeah, definitely George Kittle thing for sure. Ryan Tannehill headed to the locker room. So it looks like we're probably going to see some Malik Willis.
Ooh,
or Will Levis, maybe.
I think Willis probably, yeah.
Yep.
He did look better when he came in for Tannehill a couple times earlier.
I'd be shocked if Levis was actually active, to be honest with you. Well, they do have that third quarterback thing right now, so maybe he might be.
And it'd be silly not to take advantage of that.
Yeah,
that third QB.
Sure. But we got about a minute, Mike, so I think we could go ahead and plug some stuff, and Jordan and I can get the hell out of here.
Well, I was going to say, let you guys plug it because I can't find any more questions here, and the best part of the show is about to come up. They're behind scenes. I know they're getting ready. But yeah, Dylan, let us know where you can find your stuff, and then I'll get to Jordan.
Yeah, just make sure you check the YouTube channel Tuesday morning. My waiver wire video will drop, and then I also do the article every week as well, so make sure to check that out at fantasy6pack.net. But Jordan, how about yourself?
Pretty much same. I'll have my normal Dynasty pod coming out tomorrow. If you're watching here on this channel, it'll be released on the same Fantasy Six Pack channel. So just check that out. It'll be coming out tomorrow afternoon. Monday morning, which tomorrow morning, I'll have the fantasy written recap coming out on the website as well. So it's good quick nuggets, like main takeaways for fantasy purposes every single game. And then I do a Dynasty version of that on Twitter as well, too. So those are kind of the main things I'll have coming out this next couple of days here.
Cool, man. All right, Mike, I'm out of here. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys. Peace. All right, guys. Now for the fun part, the DFS daddies. Yep, we can have 2 of them. It's totally acceptable now, guys. But welcome to the show, Mr. Dave Eddy and Chris Robbin. I'm going to get out your hand.
Oh, hey, look at us, Chris. Yeah, we'll play this game. Hey,
the flip-flopper, flip-flopping. Good morning, good afternoon, I should say. Hopefully the setup is a little bit supercharged than it was on Friday the 13th, but I'm still I'm not going to hold myself. I like to hold myself accountable for just about everything I do, but it's just too easy to blame all that nonsense on Friday live on Friday the 13th. So that's what they're going to do. I was in here early this morning, making sure wires weren't crossed. Everything was ready to rock. The volume was up. I put the ring light in a different spot. I touched up everything. So we should be good to roll. And again, It's about a minute after 12. There is a game in London going right now. As the boys just said, Tanny has been knocked out of the game somehow, some way. But let's get right into some inactives. I know that's a big portion of the beginning of the broadcast. And then we get into some game theory and some things along those lines. Dave, what do we have for inactives? Because there's a lot of funky stuff going on here in terms of inactives and it relatively relating to DFS.
Yeah. So, I don't think for me we've had any news that has changed anything, but I don't want to assume that, everyone watched the Friday show or typically watches the Friday show. So I do want to make sure and just hit on the things that end up being massive here. And so the first two are just, the fact that Miles Sanders is out, which puts, Chuba Hubbard, right in the mix there. And then every healthy running back that the Bears have played this season, except for D'Onta Foreman, is out. So D'Onta Foreman now becomes, another cheap option. So those two guys have really opened up the slate quite a bit. T. Higgins is going to be active. I'll cover that when I get to Chase, but just in a quick nutshell, we're not going to have 100% of T. Higgins. If anything, I think he's going to be more of a decoy, so don't let that get you off of anything that you were already playing. Deshaun Watson is out. We already knew that, so that would put me out on anyone that I was considering for Cleveland. As a matter of fact, the Cleveland defense was kind of my cash defense off the top, and this injury here pushed me off of that as well. Robert Woods is active. Tank Dell is out, so I think Robert Woods becomes interesting. I don't think that really affects Nico Collins too much. Zay Jones is out. Massive upgrade for Christian Kirk. Pretty nice for Evan Ingram. Of course, it's good for Calvin Ridley as well. Looks like Elijah Mitchell is going to be active. I think if you were considering playing CMC, I don't know that the status of Elijah Mitchell makes a huge difference, but I guess you could argue, obviously, that you'd rather that he was out. And then we get to some questionables, in the later slate. Marquise Brown is listed as questionable, but it sounds like he just has an illness. I'm guessing that's not going to keep him out. Sam Laporta, he's had I believe it's a calf strain that it looked like it kind of popped up during the week, but really it went back to, the previous Sunday's game. Doesn't sound like there's any worry there. Jahmyr Gibbs is out, which means another David Montgomery touched the ball as many times as he has to game. Didn't get as many touches last week as maybe we had thought, but it's because the Lions were blowing out the Panthers. I don't think we're going to see the same game strip there where the Lions are going to blow out the Bucks. Juju Smith-Schuster, he's out. So guys like Kendrick Bourne, Devontae Parker, maybe they get a little bit of a bump now, whether that's coming from Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi or probably a little bit of the both of them. We shall see. So that pretty much gets us through that portion there, Chris. Like I say, nothing really any different from what we talked about on Friday night, but anything injury related that you want to hit on real quick before we pop into QBs?
No, there's nothing earth-shattering out there. Some value has opened up, and I hate using that term as in a DFS show or DFS broadcast like that. Using value and stuff like that. I mean, I think we're better than that. We can use. I don't know what we'd have to use a thesaurus to see what value, what other terms we could use. But there's a lot of fool's gold. Let's just call it what it is. Like we talked about Thursday, and like you said, there's no assumption that 1,000 people watch the broadcast on Thursday, but there's a lot of fool's gold, like the Minnesota wide receivers. I do like D'Onta Foreman. What does that say about Darrington Evans? Fool's gold. This T. Higgins situation. The rib injuries are nasty. One little poke or prod, and you're on the ground writhing in pain. And I like how you said it, decoy. I'm still going to go with my original plan, which I kind of told the story all week in Bottom of the Barrel. There is a flow chart and there is a pecking order in that Cincinnati offense. And T. Higgins on the field kind of further affirms what I'm after in terms with Boyd and Trent Irwin, things along those lines. Never wish any ill will on anybody, but there's just no rhyme or reason why T. Higgins would be out there active and nowhere near 100%. And given that injury, a shoulder, an elbow, a wrist, maybe that's a different issue, but a rib is your core, and that is in everything and every movement that you do. You catch a shoulder pad pop right to your ribs or your chest, and you're done. So So we can get right into quarterbacks, Dave, and I will toss it back to you, my friend.
Yeah, so it gets pretty simple for me. I'll start off with Matthew Stafford because he's the guy that I'm playing in cash. He got Cooper Kupp back last week, and he already was, providing us with great, and maybe this is becoming the swear word on the show, but great value. And now we get a strong upside to go along with the solid floor, that we've seen. He's only gone under 3X once this year. And again, for those who don't, typically watch, 3X is kind of like the general rule of thumb threshold I'm looking at for cash plays. I want them to ideally be 3X and above for the week. But in that neighborhood is what I'm looking for. Going up against Arizona, a team that's given up the most points to QBs so far this year. He's not too expensive. He, ends up being a solid price. I think you can be pretty comfortable he's not going to disappoint you in cash. And I think you can go with them MME as well. A couple other names I'll give you because I think you could go that route, and that's Gardner Minshew. We've seen him in this role before. Starting quarterback gets hurt. We get a cheap Gardner Minshew, comes in, doesn't necessarily, isn't a world beater, but gets the job done. So if you want to go that route, 100% understand. I think you could go Trevor Lawrence as well. I think he's more of an MME play, but I think there's a very high upside there. I don't know if that game's going to go underlooked or not. Looking at the ownership percentages, I don't think so. But from a cash perspective, I think you could also go there. And then Justin Fields, he's just been on fire the last couple of weeks. You know what you're getting with him. All the injuries there to the running backs. I know a lot of people, myself included, are on D'Onta Foreman. But if you feel like, well, man, D'Onta Foreman's been inactive for, the last 4 weeks, maybe Justin Fields is just their RB1. Now, I'm not talking he gets 20, 25 carries, but maybe he gets 10, 12 carries, 5, 6 of those designed runs, goal line back kind of thing. But for me, it's going to be Matthew Stafford, and I'm most interested in Trevor Lawrence for MME.
That's beautiful, beautiful. And I'm going to start backwards. Normally I go down the list, and I'm going to go from bottom to top this time around, because I believe it was right after our broadcast on Friday, maybe even Saturday morning. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the New York Jets defense, the secondary, there's a lot of banged up guys back there, and Sauce Gardner is going to be inactive, right? So that, if that opens the door for Philly to just go absolutely crazy, and in turn, right, then the Jets are going to have to keep pace. And again, certain weeks are different than others. In this week, I said it till I've been blue in the face. I'm stacking up against the chalk teams, right? So Miami going to score 50 points. I'm going to stack up Carolina and Bryce Young. Philadelphia is going to hang 31 to 35. Then I'm going to stack up the New York Jets. And that all starts with their quarterback. So when you look at Zach Wilson, 6.5 on FanDuel, 4.9 on DraftKings, only $21 on Yahoo. You said three times value is your threshold. Well, if you're going to win anything of note in a GPP in terms of 3 zeros, 1 and 3 zeros at the end of it, you got to go 4 or 5 times the max value in that one. And I think Zach Wilson, given his price tag, given this matchup, Philadelphia secondary was already iffy, 25th overall, and that was even last Sunday or Monday when they had a healthy defense. Now without Sauce Gardner and a couple other guys back there, this is also a case where Zach Wilson, can he take, we're not looking for this kid to take these massive steps and become, what he was drafted to be, this blue chip prospect, all world quarterback. Just take little steps to show us that you can be trusted, not only in this fake world of fantasy sports and DFS, but in real life. And if he's trusted by his head coach in real life, we could trust him here. So Zach Wilson, to me, is a guy, I'm thinking 2 to 3 touchdown passes in this one, and that would be a tremendous value. As we go up the list, Carolina is at Miami. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I've shared some screenshots already. I rarely, I haven't had a ton of dough as of late to just toss out on parlays and such like that. But when you look at Miami, I said it Monday, Tuesday. Miami's going to score around 54 points. I'm not kidding when I say that. So to me, that means Carolina and Bryce Young are going to have to keep up this thing. And again, in a way, you know what, Dave, we have to, what we talk about on Thursday and then what we do on Sunday, it's just like almost like a recap of what we do on Thursday in a way, and sound like a talking head. And I hate to be that way. I like to be, like on the fly, or have something actionable advice, something that people would want to come back for, right? But when we look at this, it's pretty cut and dry with week 6. Bryce Young, not cheap as can be, but he's 6-6 on FanDuel, 5-1 on DK. He did pretty well in a game where it was kind of sped up, fast-paced against the Lions last week. They didn't win, but heck, they still scored 24 points. I think the same case could be said again for them. Desmond Ridder, Josh Dobbs, again, Atlanta, Washington, one of these games where I just can't get enough of. And Washington is in Atlanta, over-unders at about 42.5 points. Most people, everything I've read says take the under in this one. These two teams are just, there's nothing there. Desmond Ritter's nothing to write home about. Sam Howell, he's not like a long-term kind of thing, but it doesn't matter. DFS, it's not long-term anyways. It's a one and done. It's a one-night stand with your quarterback. So to me, this game in general, and it's this Washington-Atlanta game, and I'm not kidding, is a perfect example. If any of you are new, right? It's week 6, your seasonal team, you're 0-6, you're like, I'm going nowhere. This is around the time we get a lot of newbies that jump back in to DFS after the gung-ho-ness of a seasonal format. If you want to fool around and work on these game stacks, this is perfect. Start with stacking Atlanta and running it back with a few Washington Commanders, and then do the exact same thing. Stack Washington and run it back with a few Atlanta Falcons here. So to me, it's Desmond Ridder, Joshua Dobbs as well, Arizona versus the 5 o'clock shadow, Matthew Stafford. That's the one we're after. We talked about him Thursday. Give me Bryce Young and Zach Wilson. And I know you said, having Gardner Minshew in a cash game, that's unbelievably sweet given his price tag. He is lower than all these guys. And just a heads up in New England, they already said, basically they're saying carte blanche, where Mac Jones is probably going to be pulled out of this game at some point. They said short leash. To me, that means 1 or 2 incompletions. His first interception, this kid is gone. He's out. You could get Bailey Zappi at a discount, but everybody's added. I've seen on several apps, Malik Cunningham, if I'm not mistaken, has trended up lists, and he's listed as a quarterback, but it's like you're getting Taysom Hill vibes here. Mm-hmm. But do you really want to kill a quarterback spot in a DFS format on a guy you're not so sure of, because you really can't plug him in a flex spot? That would be the perfect spot for him, but to just, to put him in a quarterback spot, that's strange. But to me, Bailey Zappi would be the move. So as we look down and as we move on to running backs, Dave, where are you going to start here with the running backs? Can I guess? We're always in tune. I think you're going to go right to Miami and Raheem Mostert. The floor is yours.
I mean, so, the difference between our, Friday show, which, is live this week, usually comes out on Saturday morning. And then this show that's kind of like, the polished up rough draft, right? Like the rough draft comes out, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday. And that's put in our private Discord channel. That's where I openly, transparently work through things. Come Friday when we record, now that's my, like I said, polished up rough draft, right? So, that's just make sure that, we're all on the same page, and then the weekend hits, we get to Sunday morning for this particular show. And now this is our final draft. This is what we're turning into the teacher. This is what we're getting graded on. But yeah, Raheem Mostert, right? He was a cash lock for me as soon as, A-Chain was ruled out. It would have taken a miracle for me not to be playing him in cash. I've got him in, some MME lineups as well. Super chalk, but, biggest favorite of the week going up against a team that gives up the most points to running backs. I mean, sometimes you just have to eat chalk, and I think that Mostert is good chalk. Chuba Hubbard, talked about earlier, Miles Sanders ruled out. He's going to lead this team in carries. It's not often we get starting running backs that are this cheap. Now, there's a little bit of concern here on my behalf, just because, we expect that Miami gets out and gets ahead early and stays ahead. So that typically doesn't bode well for the running back. But Panthers, target the running back about 20% of the time. So, we really just need Hubbard to hit value, right? Like, we're not expecting a 30, 40-point game here. It's not Christian McCaffrey that we're playing. We're playing a guy that we just want to hit the 3x value. If you're playing them in MME, you're looking for, like you said, 4+. And I think that either one of those are possible, but it's not without concern. He's in my cash lineup. Deontay Foreman, he's literally the only healthy body in that Chicago backfield. So again, it's a starting running back at a price that you just don't normally see. And, I didn't want to get cute this week. I've just plugged those 3 guys in, the 2 values because of what they allow you to do with the rest of your lineup. Mostert, because my word, he's going to get he's going to be involved in that game heavily. Whether they get ahead early or whether the game happens to be close or not, doesn't matter. He's going to get his points. And it kind of sucks because with Jahmyr Gibbs ruled out, David Montgomery in a normal week would be a guy that I would have locked into my cash lineup. But in this particular case, I kind of just can't do it. Like I said, you can't play everyone, right? Now, that's the beauty of MME is I've got Montgomery sprinkled around, a lot of these lineups because he's going to get every single touch he can handle today. And like I said earlier, this isn't going to be, it probably isn't going to be a game like last week for the Lions against Carolina where they got out big, they got ahead early, and they didn't need Montgomery to, carry the ball 25 times. He got some rest. This game should stay close. They're gonna feed him. Again, if we see 25+ carries here, not a big surprise. Joe Mixon is another guy, king of volume, leads the league in opportunity share. So if you're looking for, volume in what isn't a bad game environment, Joe Mixon is right up there. CMC gets a tough matchup, but it's CMC, death taxes and playing CMC when he's healthy. So if you want to go that route, the matchup is tough, but I think it's more of a MME play. Hopefully you get a little bit of a, depressed ownership on CMC because, this guy can go nuclear against anybody. Kyron Williams is another guy, again, would like to play him in cash this week, but just can't. Like he would have been like my 5th option here. Volume's been real good. He, is amongst the league leaders in targets, but it seems like that could be a little bit misleading. Last 2 weeks, he's only got 5 targets. Of course, now with Kupp coming back, do they need to throw him the ball as much as they did, the first 4 weeks? Probably not, but he still sees so much opportunity share there. 6th in the league at 74.3% that he's always an option. And then Alvin Kamara, good matchup here. He's had back-to-back good weeks since he's came back. He's hit at least 3x value. So Kamara, is one of those dual threats. And you can play those kind of cheat code running backs, usually with pretty decent safety, Chris.
Yeah, and you say David Montgomery, the hometown guy, right? Detroit Lions. We're both from the Detroit metropolitan area, and so not only this is a weird thing I just found out. So in a weird way, we can start our cash builds and our MME builds kind of in the same vein with Jonathan Taylor and David Montgomery if you wanted to, because Jonathan Taylor, as it stands now, he's only $6,500 on FanDuel. 6-6 on DK, $21 on Yahoo. Jacksonville, 6 overall against opposing running backs. But you see, you're going to get a case here where Zach Moss is still in play. My phone, I get a lot of text messages or DMs from my friends and my family. Is Zach Moss still a good play with Jonathan Taylor being, back? And until shown otherwise, I am going to be playing Zach Moss in seasonal formats and in DFS formats. And it's a way here with Jonathan Taylor and David Montgomery where we've started this thing, and then you can flex Mostert in there, and boom, you just go right to bottom of the barrel and pick your 3 favorite wide receivers, which I will tell you in a few moments, and we're rolling here. Nobody's really talked about Jerome Ford in Cleveland, right? He's been in my notes all week. I've been hemming and hawing. What should I do? His yards per carry have been awful. The defense, San Francisco, 9th overall against opposing running backs. It's awful. And his price tag on FanDuel, 6.4 on FanDuel, 5.2 on DK, $16 on Yahoo. Dave, it's just one of those things where it comes from here. Everything on paper, and I wrote it down in red. I mean, there's nothing there that says, Jerome Ford needs to be played. But in this game, Cleveland versus San Francisco, if I look at my final score notes here, over-unders it opened at 36 points. I mean, that is literally the lowest over-under of the slate of the week by like 5 or 6 points. And I'm not kidding. Yet I have San Francisco to hang 24 and Cleveland to hang 14 or 17 points here. So I think we get a little touchdown action from Jerome Ford. And what are the chances? Again, just throwing this into the wind. I should have said this on Thursday because I wouldn't want to hand this into the teacher, as you said. But what are the chances Jerome Ford finds the end zone twice and he's just literally all the offense that Cleveland has, because they're getting away from DTR. He's not their quarterback this week. They're going with PJ. They're playing PJ, if I'm not mistaken. They called him up. He had the first reps there and all that. So to me, maybe bumps up their offense just a tad, a guy like Amari Cooper. But to me, I've spent way too much time on Jerome Ford. Ramon Stevenson as well, New England. They're a mess, that nasty environment. They go to Vegas. Vegas is 17th overall against opposing running backs. We could see a case here where Ramondre Stevenson, we've seen these games. Bill Belichick is going to take the ball completely, literally out of the quarterback's hands, and it's Ramondre Stevenson sees 20-plus carries. Remember, there was a game last year where Mac Jones only threw the ball 3 or 4 times, and Stevenson carried the ball 36 or 37 times. I'm not projecting that this week, but Ramondre Stevenson at 6'2" on FanDuel, 5'4" on DK, Stevenson could be that guy. Volume is king, as you always say. And as we go down the list, Hubbard is very much in play, but he's kind of become chalky now because Miles Sanders is out. But Chuba, however you want to say it, in a game, again, where Miami's going to hang dozens and dozens of points, he's going to be in play. I like Craig Reynolds as well. Detroit is at Tampa Bay. He scored a touch, like one of those feel-good the human victory cigar. We've seen that, remember, with the Pistons and Darko like 20 years ago. Whenever Darko checked into the game, you knew it was the human victory cigar. And Craig Reynolds is a guy who is a solid professional running back, football player in general, especially on special teams. And for 4.9 on FanDuel, 4.3 on DK, you got to love that. And Zach Charbonnet, the rookie, Seattle is in Cincinnati. Cincinnati 16th overall against opposing running backs. And we've seen this team runs through Kenneth Walker III, DK, and Tyler Lockett. That's their triple-headed monster. And I've read reports that they're all readily available where they want to get this young kid more involved. And he is stout. He is a short, stout young man. And again, get him in, in these short packages. Now, I would say like the red zone, let's say, right? That's the goal line would be dominated by Kenneth Walker or a fade to DK, something like that. But I could see Zach Charbonnet receiving a touchdown in this one. And at 4.8 on FanDuel, only 4.2 on DK. I've already told you I love Donta Foreman, but who else is there? Darrington Evans as well. And this kid was, he had a lot of luster, a lot of sparkle when he was with Tennessee, very active with us all on Twitter. I remember last year, he's a Chicago Bear now. He's going to get some playing time as well. 4.5 on FanDuel. He is as cheap as it gets. And I think you could lock in Evans for 7 to 8 carries in a game where I still think the Chicago Bears coaching staff is, I won't repeat myself, but I think that they want to embarrass Minnesota somehow, some way. I'm very interested to see how that one shakes out. So when we turn our heads to wide receivers, Dave, where are you going? What are you thinking in terms of the best cash options over on that side of things?
Well, before we go there, let's have our fun here. We're talking about building a touchdown parlay, anytime touchdown scoring parlay, and I've got a couple of guys that I would like to nominate, and I think what we want to do here is we want to give people a winner, right? Last week we had fun. It was completely unscripted, just off the cuff, and we ended up getting what was it, 10 deep or something, and that probably wasn't going to hit. So we've talked about doing something in the 2 to 5 pick neighborhood just to keep it reasonable, right? I would like to nominate a couple of running backs here that we've talked about that I think are in smash spots, and if you are in agreement, you can go ahead and write them down, and we can see what we got at the end, and we'll trim it if we need to, right? Christian McCaffrey, right? I mean, best player in football. I think we can put him down for a touchdown. Raheem Mostert, I got half a mind to want to go and double up that, but I think we keep it. I think we keep it simple. I think we just, like I said, try to get the people a winner. Throw one in there. David Montgomery. I mean, the dude has scored a touchdown every game he's been a Lion. He's going to get every touch in the backfield. Well, maybe not every touch in the backfield, but he's going to get a lot of touches today. So I think we can put him in there. And then Kyron Williams going up against that, Cardinals team. Stanford could throw 4 or 5 touchdown passes today, but odds are they're going to run one in. And if they do so, that's going to be Kyron Williams. So I would like to present those as options for you to
absolutely. And I could see it even being Mostert, 2 or more touchdowns, David Montgomery, 2 or more touchdowns, and then adding in Christian McCaffrey and Kyron Williams, and then we get a little bit of a sweat going. And as you're talking about wide receivers, I'll do what I can to log in and see what our odds are by the end of this broadcast. So I'll set you up here with the softball. Tyreek Hill is the most expensive wide receiver on FanDuel this week, at least 9.8, 9.3 on DK, $40 on Yahoo. Rightfully so. You're looking at 10, 11 targets, 8, 9 receptions, well over 100 yards is his floor. 100 yards and a touchdown is his floor. He has the highest floor of any guy going right now in professional football. So where are you going to zig and zag here? Boyd was one of my favorites, and it even further affirms that now that we know T. Higgins is going to play. People are going to go, well, I'm pulling back from Tyler Boyd. I'm only going to push more forward on Tyler Boyd. Where are you going, Dave?
So my cash lock since the beginning of the week has been Jamar Chase. And so Jamar Chase would be the guy from the wide receiver position that I would present to you here. And then that would give me 5, that would give me the full 5. But I mean, I went through and I railed off all the stats earlier about why you should play Jamar Chase. And again, not assuming anyone watched this. So this is why you should follow me here with Jamar Chase, right? 2nd in the league in targets, 2nd in the league in receptions, 7th in yards, 5th in touchdowns, 1st in route ran percentage, 3rd in snap share, 2nd in red zone targets, 1st in end zone targets, and then 4th in target share. So you pretty much pick a category, and Jamar Chase is right at the top. So, and he's done this so far with Burrow being less than 100%. We saw a much better Burrow last week. What are we going to get this week? I don't know, but Jamar Chase has been locked in for me. And then I kind of had a 3v3 in cash that I was debating between. I'll talk to you first about the 2 pay down, or not really pay down, but the 2 cheaper options. And that was Christian Kirk. Like I said earlier, with Zay Jones out, this is a guy who's been pretty consistent, at least 2.5x in each of his last 4 games. I think he's got a great game environment here against the Colts. So he was a guy that I really was looking at playing. And if I want to pay down a little bit further, it was Josh Downs. Didn't feel like we had to force salary savings this week because of the running back situation. But, he was as much of just a good play as it was, his salary being cheaper, which obviously doesn't hurt. He's been drawing a 25% target share when Minshew's been at quarterback. So that was a guy that I was really interested in. Of course, Tyreek Hill, right? Tyreek Hill is going to be healthy. They're going to beat the brakes off of the Panthers this week. That makes Hill very much an option. But I went Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is a guy that when he's healthy, very, very difficult in cash to keep out of your lineups. He's got such a consistent role in that offense. He's got such a low floor, and that's why I jammed in Foreman and I jammed in Hubbard, because I wanted to play Chase and I wanted to play either Hill or Kupp. And Kupp is the guy that I'm going to go with here. And then, if you want to go other directions here, I think Nico Collins is interesting. Him and Tank Dell are kind of going back and forth. There is no Tank Dell. So I think Nico Collins is interesting. If you wanted to get really cheap, and again, you don't need to do this, but if you wanted to jam in a CMC or something, right, to go along with Kupp and Chase, and you could always have gone Brandon Powell. I think he was the ultimate punt play. Like you said, I think it's kind of some phony baloney business here, but at his price tag with what he did when Jefferson went out, I think it was viable, and I might have gone that route if I didn't get 2 starting running backs that are basically, punt salary-wise, but didn't need to go there. Marquise Brown, again, I said earlier, I expect he's going to play. 4 straight games of hitting 3X. His price continues to stay roughly the same. Pretty elite metrics across the board. I mean, not quite as good as Chase, but, in the tier below. And then Trenton Irwin was a guy that I had mentioned. If, Higgins was out, would be a cash consideration. Again, another guy that you could pay down for. With Higgins in, that means you can't really play him in cash. But I don't think that Higgins being in really hurts the luster of him in MME. Again, I think Higgins is basically going to be a decoy today. If he gets 2 catches for 12 yards, I don't think anyone's going to be shocked. So I think that Irwin would be an interesting way to go with, a stacking partner. It'd be a double stack in this case, Chase and Irwin, but you're going to have a pretty chalky Burrow, pretty chalky Chase. So if Irwin gets in the end zone, that's how you get different. And then, Adam Thielen, like this guy, if you're not playing Chuba, I get it, because we expect that they're going to need to pass to stay in this game. And Adam Thielen's been catching balls like it's, 2018 here. He's just been ridiculous. Like we don't got the time we do on the Friday show. So I'm not going to get into all the stats, but Adam Thielen has been elite as far as, target wise has been concerned. And then DJ Moore, again, you expect that, maybe you say, hey, you know what? They're not going to really give Foreman a whole bunch of carries, and they're not going to lean on Justin Fields to run the ball because of all these injuries. They're going to throw the ball. Maybe that you want to go that route. That's okay. DJ Moore has been crazy the last couple of weeks. He's not too expensive. If you want to go that route, he's absolutely in play. And then the one guy that I think in Minnesota that really has the opportunity and really isn't going to be that fool's gold, I think, is Jordan Addison. It just really comes down to, do you think that, with the increase in targets that we think Addison's going to see, is he going to step up to the plate and continue the progression that we've seen that he's had on the field with Jefferson? Or is that extra attention he's going to get because he is now the wide receiver 1? Is that going to be too much for him? That's the question with him, but I think that he's a good play, and I prefer him in MME. I've actually got him in a couple of my MME lines.
A lot, yeah. I'm with you. And just briefly, when you look at Adam Thielen, it's like if you any projection, like if you head over to the Fantasy Six Pack, Discord or the tools that they have, you see, you go to the wide receivers, you see Hill and Chase and Kupp and Adams, AJ Brown, DJ Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, and then you have Adam Thielen nestled in right there, and his projection, in DFS wise on FanDuel at least, is around 15.9 points. DJ Moore is at like 13. Puka's at 13.8. So it's like he stands out like a sore thumb, but we know Adam Thielen, he's been a star and a stud his whole career, but, self-made really from the University of Minnesota to the Minnesota Vikings, got paid. Granted, he's in the twilight of his career now, kind of like, Diamond Dallas Page. We'll throw a little wrestling reference. He didn't make it big, and he didn't win his first world championship until he was like 40. But then in his 40s, he was all the rage, the diamond cutter, all that wild stuff. And Adam Thielen is doing it big over in Carolina. But if you're like, well, you know what? Every DFS broadcast I've watched or seen, Thielen is too chalky. Well, over here at Bottom of the Barrel, I like the idea of double stacking DJ Shark and the young kid Jonathan Mingo. The price tags match up beautifully. You look at DJ Shark, 6,000 even on FanDuel, $4,000 on DK, and Jonathan Mingo kind of along the same lines as Downs last week. They both had kind of their rookies. They both had like little breakout games. And if Carolina is going to keep pace again, the same narrative with Miami, then that's what they're going to do. And Mingo's 4.9 on FanDuel. He's only 3.5 on DK, the bare minimum on Yahoo. I love the idea of both of those Carolina boys. If you think Thielen's going to be too chalky, but to say Thielen would be chalky, it's like you can't say that in the same breath given his price tag. If he was a wide receiver priced as low as Adam Thielen is, chalk or not, he's a must play regardless. So to me, Thielen is like one of those in a multi-enter GPP. It's fade at your own risk, which I mentioned in the opening of the quarterback bottom of the barrel article. That is fade at your own risk, and we move on from there. I love the idea of this Curtis Samuel Dotson double stack as well in Washington. When Washington is in Atlanta, Curtis Samuel has been very efficient with what he's been given. And when you look at him and Dotson have been given just about the same amount of work and targets and stuff like in along those lines, excuse me. But Samuel has been a little bit more efficient. But to me, Dotson and Samuel working together in unison in Atlanta, there's just something about that I like. As I said, in a game, Washington, Atlanta over-unders at about 42.5 points. I think that one gets blown out of the water, and you're looking at like a 24-23 kind of final where every yard counts, every second and tick off the clock counts. I love the idea of Samuel and Dotson. And as we go further down, you mentioned Trent Irwin, so I'll leave that one. I mentioned Tutu Atwell on Thursday. What about Alan Lazard? The Jets are playing Philly. And again, Philly right now, 28th overall against opposing wide receivers. You know, Alan Lazard and Garrett Wilson, that wasn't even an idea of mine until just right now. So there is a case to be made this week, and it's different week to week. It just depends on how you look at the slate all week, every day, or like us 24/7. We can have these groupings of double stacks at wide receiver, and it's up to you to choose. And again, if you're like me, you're going to have 1,200 lines or something like that, right? You can double stack these guys in every different little combo that you can think of. Alan Lazard, as I said, and then one more guy, Rashid Shaheed. New Orleans is playing at Houston. Houston's a tough matchup for wide receivers in their secondary, but Shaheed's only 5.4 on FanDuel, 3.7 on DK, $12 on Yahoo, and then let me give you one more: Rondell Moore and Rashid Shaheed. Normally, in a cash game, right? These guys you would play separately. I don't mind the idea of playing Moore and Shaheed in the same lineup, keeping our fingers crossed and hoping each one of them catches like a 35 to 45 yard bomb. And I know that's not the best way to bet or just use your money, but hey, when you see it, you call it. And again, the Rams are tough too against opposing wide receivers. They're 5th overall and Houston's 3rd overall. So you're taking a risk, you're taking a chance, but when you look at their price tags, can you get a goose egg from each guy? Absolutely. That could be set across the board for Lazar or Irwin or Curtis Samuel, Matt Collins, things along those lines. But all it takes is one. In this case, all it takes is 2, 1 for each of them, and we're rolling. And when you stack up a guy like Moore and Shaheed, you're able to put in Jonathan Taylor and David Montgomery in your running back spots with Jamar Chase, and you can put in CMC at the flex. So these cheap spots, you're going to have to get uncomfortable, from the get-go. Week 1, it's kind of like, let's play it safe and we'll go from there. But in week 6 and going forward, we're going to have to get weird and you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. If you look at your line and go, oh, I really like this line, I would scrap the whole thing. You gotta look at it and go, I hate this line, stinks, it's disgusting, it's awful, but I'm going to enter it anyway and see what we get.
That's how you win $1 million, right, Chris?
Yeah, I guess I haven't won $1 million yet, but I've been close a few times.
So let's move into these tight ends here. It's about 20 minutes or so till kickoff. So we want to get this finished up early enough, for people to make these changes if need be. So tight end, I think Evan Ingram stands out to me as the most obvious play. You want to talk about consistency, 8 targets each of the last 4 games. That hasn't made him hit the 3X mark yet, but he's been putting up about 2.5. So close enough. Like I said earlier, Zay Jones is out, so very in on Kirk, very in on Ridley, very in here on Ingram as well. Logan Thomas ends up being the guy that I go with just because, the way that, the way I went with my 3v3, one of them I had the money for Ingram, the other one I had the money for Logan Thomas. That's the route that I went. It was very close between Thomas and Ertz for me. But really it came down to, on DraftKings at least, the $100 difference, which doesn't, you don't usually think that makes a big difference. In this case, it did. I could not afford Zach Ertz, which is fine because I like Thomas, just as well. And Atlanta's been very generous, giving up the 5th most passing yards to tight ends. He's had at least a touchdown in 40 yards in every game he's played fully here. So 11 targets. Results in 9 catches, 77 yards last week. So I went that route. But again, Zach Ertz, if you want to go there, he's been a guy I believe I've talked about every single week. I've played him a couple of times. He seems like he hits the weeks I haven't played him, and he's missed on the weeks I have played him. He did get in the end zone last week, so his 2 for 10 did save me because of the touchdown And then I'll give you an MME option for like a kind of a punt that I like that I've gotten a couple spots, and that's Noah Fant. I know that's your turf, but I want to give the people a little more here. So I think Noah Fant is interesting. I think that's a route that you can go and hopefully like the result, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it too. And we're coming down to the wire here. And if I'm not mistaken, it's not my job. We're not sportscasters or sports announcers, but it's not our job to keep the people informed about what's going on over in London. But I think there's a couple ticks away. Ravens have the ball after the Titans kicked a field goal. And the only reason I say that is because I hit on my parlay for a couple $100. And all I needed was Taj Spears over 16.5 reception yards. And it looks like he caught one ball for 48 yards. Now I just need the Ravens to win. I had them to win the first half parlay and to win the second half. And it looks like they're on their way. So, good morning and happy trails to London. I'm going to put it all right back into this sucker. But when we look at the tight ends here, a lot of Laporta questions. And the good thing about this, though, is the fact that in seasonal formats, the Lions play at 425. There's a whole set of other games that have, pretty good tight ends like the Jets, right? Tyler Conklin plays at 445. Your Arizona Cardinals tight ends play at 425, excuse me. Trey McBride and Zach Ertz. If this is the week that I'm deeming double stack necessary, why can't we run Trey McBride and Zach Ertz double tight ends? The Rams, not good, 27th overall against opposing tight ends. So it's about picking our spots. As I said, the Rams, their defensive front is phenomenal. Fifth overall against wide receivers. I got to go all the way back to my front page to see what the Rams are. Excuse me, I believe 9th against running backs. So they're good against wide receivers and running backs, but they stink against tight ends. So what's the harm in stacking up Trey McBride and Zach Ertz? When you look at Trey McBride, you'll love this one, Dave. He's only $2,500 on DraftKings. And again,
minimum.
You're not looking at, I'm not expecting 7 to 8 targets like some high-end Darren Waller or, Evan Ingram, something like that. But all it takes is one. And I'd be cool with the stat line for Trey McBride. 2 to 3 targets, 2 receptions, 32 yards, and a touchdown. Boom. That would be 4 or 5 times the value given his price tag there. Tommy Tremble in Carolina. We saw him catch that 1-yard slant touchdown against the Lions last week. And again, they're in Miami. I think they're going to start to get this kid more involved. I remember way back when he was a rookie, I was working with a different website, and they just handed out, you got to write rookie blurbs. And I was given Tommy Tremble, and I had to dig into this kid, and I liked him a lot. He was along the lines of a TJ Hawkinson, a Sam Laporta kind of tight end, right? Where you can block, but he's kind of like a wide receiver, but he was big enough and wide enough where you could put him at the end of the line as another offensive lineman. But Tommy Tremble, to me, 2-6 on DraftKings, 4-5 on DK. Miami, 22nd overall against opposing tight ends. What about the Indianapolis Colts double stack tight end? Anybody ever heard of Drew Ogletree and stacking him with Kyle Granionson? No, nobody in the world, because I'm the only dummy that would put that stuff in print, because I told you, if I think it and I write it with my pen, rarely do I delete it, because God forbid Ogletree actually does score a touchdown, the boy who cried wolf, as we talked about on Friday. And last but not least, I love the idea of Cade Otton this week against our Detroit Lions, Tampa Bay versus Detroit 29th overall against opposing tight ends, and the Lions have a laundry list of players that are inactive today, and a majority of those guys are defensive players. So Cade Otton, to me, is their tight end one, and he's only 4.9 on FanDuel, 3.2 on DK, only $13 on Yahoo, and to me, it's just going to be a lovely day for the tight end rooms. And let's toss in Tyler Conklin for the Jets, who, if I'm not mistaken by memory, because I wrote it out, he hasn't caught any. He's been at least 3 catches for 30 yards in 4 straight games, if I'm not mistaken, something along those lines. And when
at least 3 for 25.
At least, oh, so I was close enough.
Close.
When you look at it, he's under $5,000 on FanDuel. He's 3-3 on DK. And again, Philadelphia going to be big winners in this one. And let's see what Zach Wilson's got. He's got the stones to kind of hang in there when the chips are down, and we'll see what we get. And in last case scenario, if rubber to the road, Sam Laporta last minute is inactive. Fingers crossed that does not happen. Brock Wright would make a difference. We saw what he did last year in small little sample sizes. They trade away TJ Hawkinson. We're like, who the heck is Brock Wright? We saw him go nuts against the Jets when that long touchdown, and doing my Lions fandom a little bit too hard right now, given the time on our end. But Brock Wright, 4-5 on FanDuel, 2-5 on DK, only $10 on Yahoo. So if Sam Laporta is inactive, or you're just uncomfortable about the idea of Laporta with the calf injury anyways, Brock Wright you can get at the bare minimum price in a high-powered, Jared Goff-led Lions offense.
Yeah, so to move on to defense, for me, early in the week, I had my sights set on Cleveland. They were at DK $2,200, which is a phenomenal price for arguably the best defense in the league for cash. And so I was there, even though they're going up against the Niners. But again, salary does not equate to production from defense. So, you want to give me the best defense in the league going up against anybody, I'm on board for the salary savings. Once Deshaun Watson got ruled out, I kind of got off of that, because then I thought, well, now I expect the Niners to get the lead, and I think they're going to run the ball, and so if they're running the ball, I can't get sacks, I can't get interceptions, I can't luck into a touchdown, so I was out. It came down to Detroit and New England, and I could go either direction. Again, on DK, at least the Lions $100 more expensive than the Patriots, as you know from the debate between Ertz and Logan Thomas. The $100 played a factor this week. I went with New England. They're going to see a lot of familiar faces today. I think that Bill Belichick, for all of their struggles, even defensively, I still think that at his root, he's a defensive guy, right? And they know all about Josh McDaniels. They know all about Jimmy G. So, I think that at that price, I think that there's someone that I'm interested in. Now, for MME purposes, you could go a whole variety of ways. I'll just rattle off some names real quick that I've either played or at least considered for MME: Dolphins, Falcons, Bears, and then, of course, Patriots, Lions.
Yeah, we're in lockstep here. Tampa Bay and the Patriots were top of my list, and I like the Patriots even more. New England going to Vegas, they're only $3,600 on FanDuel at least. But the Houston Texans playing New Orleans isn't a half bad play with their defensive line. And you get all these questions about Olave and Alvin Kamara. Houston can hang with teams like New Orleans here, so I'm not afraid to plug in Houston at dirt cheap prices. When you look, they're $3,700 on FanDuel, and the most expensive defense on FanDuel is the San Francisco 49ers at $5,000, and it goes down, goes Philly, Miami, and New Orleans is the fourth most expensive. So it isn't really fitting to my play style, but at a certain point, we get repetitive here. And again, if you really had some stones, you could play Carolina. They are only $3,000, but you're like, Chris, that is that's the stupidest thing I've heard. You said Miami's going to score 50 points. Why would you play Carolina? It's like you got to get nuts. You want to get crazy, like the Joker says, or the Batman says in the first one with Michael Keaton. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Let's play Carolina. Let's look at the Chicago Bears defense too. Only $3,200 against Minnesota, Arizona at the Rams. That's a more chancier one. The Jets kind of off the table, but when we break it down, I could even make a case for the Colts as well here. So it's basically, let's just like you're a kid at McDonald's. You throw the pickle at the window, and whichever one makes it down first, that's what you check in there, Dave.
Yep. So 10 minutes here before kickoff, Chris. Do we want to lock in, discuss the final parameters of this touchdown parlay? I've made suggestions. Like I said, I want to keep it between 2 and 5. I've made 5 suggestions to you. I went McCaffrey, Mostert, Montgomery, Kyron Williams, Chase, all for just a single touchdown. I placed that bet earlier in the week. It was plus 1,022.
Wow.
So $10 bet wins you just a little bit over $100. That's what I went in for our official bet. Do you want to make any adjustments to that? Do you want to keep it the same? What do you want to do?
I'm going to take that bet and I'm going to up it. As I said, I'm going to give Mostert 2+ touchdowns.
Okay.
I'm going to do DMont 2+ touchdowns.
Mhm.
I'm going to add in Chase. Jamar Chase was someone you texted me about early in the week. CMC and Kyron Williams. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're looking at 5 players, but 7 touchdowns. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me because we've been chatting, but I can do that quickly at the end of the broadcast, and maybe I'll share the screenshot for the premium members in the Discord when we're done here with this broadcast. So good luck to everybody out there today, and we appreciate your time.
Yeah, so I think that'll do it for Chris and I. We appreciate you tuning in. I don't know if we're going to be live next Friday or not, or if we're going to go ahead and run it on Saturday. Chris, you want to make the decision right now?
Let's run it live. We'll do it live. Like the Bill O'Reilly. If we had that Bill O'Reilly, if we had a better producer, we'd have sound drops and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and we could do the Bill O'Reilly. You want to run it live? I can't see the screen. Run it live. F it. Let's run it live. See what we get. Anything can happen when you're live.
Yeah. So there you go. Well, first of all, good luck this week. Of course, we're looking for another clean sweep and cash here. Make 5 out of 6 for us. But for my good friend here, Mr. Chris Robbin, Troy Beastie, I am Dave Eddy. We will see you Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern live.